Good evening and welcome to this session of the live virtual coaching classes organized by the Board of Studies of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. In the last session, we began a very interesting and possibly important topic on meetings of board and its powers. I would even go to the extent of saying this is the dynamics and essence of the Act, Companies Act. Your knowledge of company law will be much enhanced if you are familiar with this. Also, as a member, whether in practice or in service as a chartered accountant, you will find knowledge of this chapter will be of great use to you when advising your management as a CFO or your client as a practicing CA. You'll find many questions in practice, practical issues arise out of this. Also, this chapter contains three important sections that are crucial in auditing and all. 186, 185, of course, 186 and 188. Therefore, it will be very interesting and I look forward to another, shall we say, very interesting and interactive session with all of you. So we have already got Kaushiki in, Shriram, welcome sir, Viraj is here. So as you keep coming in, I'll greet you. In the meantime, let's quickly run. We already completed so much, okay, but not enough. We should go a little faster. So we have to talk about, we spoke about board meetings, periodicity, quorum, interested director, disinterested director, etc., etc. Now we move on to passing of resolutions by circulation. Resolutions are passed at meetings of the board, whether held in physical place or through video conferencing. Both modes are now allowed. You can have an entire board meeting by video conference, no problem, so long as the matter can be done by video conference. We have seen certain matters which cannot be done by video conferencing. Other than that, all other matters you can do using video conferencing. Right. So when it has been done through video conferencing and, subject to the rules and all that, recording and all that, then it is valid resolution passed at the meeting of the board. But there could be situations where the board may not be able to meet physically. Anyway, welcome to Purnima J and Mr. Sudhir, P. Sudhir, Palaparthi Sudhir. Welcome, sir. Now, so there may be situations where the board is not able to meet at a physical location, or it may be something that they don't have the time for it, even for a video conference, imagine. So they say, Chalan, it may be a very silly matter that can be done easily by reading the resolution by mail and then accepting it and acknowledging it. That's our matter over. This may not need a meeting at all. So in those cases, they say, hey, come on, we know the subject. Yeah, you send it across. We will approve it. Go ahead. So such cases, the law provides for passing of resolution by circulation. Procedure to be followed. First, the resolution should have been circulated in draft, meaning not pakka. You see, draft, because any director can point out any changes or suggest redrafting. So it's called a draft, together with the necessary paper, supporting papers. You see, you can't just send a resolution. You should also send supporting papers. Why are we doing this? What? Suppose you are going to borrow in excess of paid up capital and free reserves. Then you have to send balance sheet, latest balance sheet. You have to send the loan agreement. You have to send the calculation of 185, everything in one shot. And then only the director can understand what it is and do this. So the resolution be sent to their addresses registered with the company in India by hand delivery or by post or by courier or electronic means, which may include email. So you can take the resolution, attach it to a mail, send it by email also, no problem. The resolution shall be approved by a majority of the directors or members in the case of a committee. Don't confuse this member with a member of the company. Suddenly you'll have the doubt, what's our members? No. Please look here. We are talking about two types of people. One is directors The other is members of the committee. Various committees are there. We are going to see, at least in this chapter, we are going to see 3 committees. We are going to see the audit committee. We are going to see selection and nomination committee, etc. We are going to see all that. So these committees have members. So those members. So the resolution shall be approved by a majority of the directors and members who are entitled to vote on the resolution. Please again underline the word entitled. Why do you say the words entitled to vote are used? Let's see if any of you can give me an answer. Why is the wording entitled to vote used here? What do you mean by entitled to vote? You already know the answer. I just want you to confirm that you know it. The resolution should be approved by a majority of the directors who are entitled to vote. Okay, one more thing. Resolutions in the board meetings are passed by simple majority. Simple majority, no polling, bullying and all. 5 directors attend, 3 say yes, 2 say no, resolution passed. Always, I mean, I would love that if you can do it. All of you. Just to type in. So, okay. Sriram, come on, I'm waiting for your answer. What is the significance of the word entitled to vote? Or anybody? Why only Sriram? Even other than those who have greeted. Anybody? Entitled to vote. What is the meaning of that? Just keep putting in. Okay. Now, so it is accepted by majority where not less than 1/3. Sriram says, if any director went abroad in his place, if any alternate, such director cannot vote. Other nominally appointed directors are entitled to vote. No. That is, see, alternate. See, let us understand one thing. It is a beautiful point. When an alternate director is there and the other director is out of India and the resolution is to be passed by circulation, who will get the notice? This is a bigger question, but this entitled is not about that. Purnima has talking about paid kalmaniya, madam directors. Only members, and that too for unpaid shares, only members have to pay. If a director has not paid his calls within 6 months from the time appointed, then he is disqualified and he will automatically vacate office. So he wouldn't be here at all. If he has not paid his calls, he wouldn't be here at all. Either would have been vacated or he cannot be appointed. He is disqualified. Provided 6 months should have elapsed from the due date fixed for the call. Right? You know that. So no. We have Kaushiki and Janvi coming in with the words disinterested, interested. So the guy who's are entitled to vote are disinterested directors, as rightly pointed out by Kaushiki. And as Janvi says, interested directors not entitled. That is what this is about, interested and disinterested. So even on circulation, an interested director shall not vote. Correct. Interested cannot vote. Disinterested director can vote. As I think you made it mistakenly, but disinterested director can vote. Chalo. Now, coming to Sriram's point, that raises another question for me. Seriously, I don't have an answer. But I have a logical answer. But if you ask me, catch me by the collar and ask me which section, which rule, I cannot tell you. But and I don't remember also any such rule or section. But if you know something, see, when alternate director is appointed, he is replacing the original. How long he will hold office? Till such time the director returns to India, or the director is either removed, or he is retires by rotation and he is not appointed, or if he is retires by rotation and is automatically reappointed, such reappointment will apply only to the original director, not to the retiring director. I'm sorry, the alternate director. So till such time, the original director is in a foreign country, the alternate director is the director for all intents and purposes. So he is entitled to vote. I think that way Sriram may have a point. So if any director went abroad in his place, alternate director is appointed, such director cannot vote. No. Alternate director can vote. That is where you are going wrong. Your assumption that an alternate director cannot vote. Sir, the whole point of appointing this alternate guy is to vote. So that guy will be replaced by this guy. However, the alternate director votes will be conclusive. Therefore, Prashant comes in. Very good, sir. Disinterested director, yes, can vote. Whereas he is entitled to vote. Sriram, your point is well taken. But the actual point is, who is entitled to vote? Alternate director is entitled to vote. Right. But the original director is not entitled to vote. Because he is not in India. All he has to do is take a flight, come, put his foot on Indian soil. That's it. And yeah, one no, that's all. I've come. That is all. He can vote. But till such time, he cannot vote because the alternate director is there. That alternate director can vote. Kindly correct yourself on that point. Alternate director cannot vote at the meetings. No. Alternator can vote. So that way entitled to vote is the alternate director. In a way, if you're going by your logic of alternate director, it's a good question. If there is an alternate director, who will be eligible to vote on resolution by circulation? And again, see, today this whole alternate directorship is becoming a little funny. It's becoming more theoretical. Reason, let us say that I'm going outside India, boss. Why can I not attend the board meeting by video conferencing? So long as video is allowed, except for those matters where video is not allowed, I can't attend that. Even there, I can attend. Who can prevent a video conference? My attendance cannot be considered for certain matters. So without me, there should be sufficient number of quorum, and without me, the vote should be in favor. That's all. I can attend because video conferencing is available. So today, with the technology, many of these legal points are becoming redundant. Even by circulation, resolution by circulation is good. And instead of sending it by post, we will send it by email. Since you're sending by email, or why should I not send it to even a guy who's abroad? So why appoint an RA? When, I was conducting the office, except the time difference, so that I should be a little careful about time difference. And my colleagues should be, my people should be sensitized to the fact that times are slightly 3.5 hours ahead. I'm early. So I'll have to wait. So I get up in the morning, I'll have to wait till 12:31 in the afternoon in Japan for my guys to get up and come to office and start working. Then the work starts. Then that 6 hours gap, I work online. Means I'll be traveling, I'll be going around, looking at places, enjoying, talking, having fun. But whenever I need it, I'm available on mobile, on video conference, whatever I want. I can give. Even clients can call me video, WhatsApp video call, everything going on. There is no geography now. Geography is no history. Where you are is no longer relevant. Okay, this is something you might want to think about as the future generation. Okay, we are all Buddhas, we have, for us, technology is something new. We don't know what it is. Not really. We have learned every technology that came, right from the good old personal computers to data punching to today. Okay, your mobile telephony. We have adapted to everything. When something new was thrown at us, we caught it. And then we rolled it and we threw it back. Okay. We are capable of doing it still. For another 15 years, we are capable of doing it. Okay. Good. Now, so technology is something you'll have to look at. Okay. Where not less than 1/3 of the total number of directors of the company for the time being require that any resolution under circulation must be decided at a meeting. The chairperson shall put the resolution to be decided at a meeting of the board. So now you got the point. This is an escape valve. Suppose the MD or the company secretary is trying to push a controversial resolution through the board by circulation. So simply sending some nonsense supporting documents, then trying to pass a resolution. Some directors honestly feel, hey, come on, this is not enough, yeah. We need to talk. What all, the way you written it out and all, it's very vague. We need to ask you some more questions. I can't simply keep asking it on the WhatsApp. We have to meet in person. So no, don't do this by circulation. Let's have a meeting. But how many should ask? Not less than 1/3. Not less than 1/3 should ask for that. Not less than 1/3 of the total number of directors should ask for it. Remember, see, I can easily directly give you a problem right now. So directors of so-and-so company, the company secretary wants to pass a resolution by circulation. The matter is a little controversial, and let us say, for example, there are 7 directors. 7 directors. 7 directors. Then 3 of them want. 2 of them want to have a meeting. 2 of them want to have a meeting. Okay, there's a little bit of a tricky question. Now, be careful. There are totally how many directors? 7. Out of that, they want to pass the secretary, company secretary, or the MD wants to pass a resolution by circulation. Okay, are you able to understand? Now, two of them say we want we don't want resolution by circulation. We want normal meeting. Now, should the chairman or chairperson put the resolution to be decided at a meeting of the board? Are you able to understand the question? Can I have an answer? The board of directors of a company, 7 directors. 7 directors. One matter which is a little controversial, the company secretary and managing director are trying to push it through the board by resolution by circulation. 7 directors. 7 directors. Now, 2 of them strongly object and say, no, sir, we don't want circulation. This must be decided at a meeting. Should the chairperson, that is the MD, put the resolution at the meeting, or can we say, go to hell? Circulation, we have got majority is accepted. Out of 7, I've got 4. 1 against. 2 of you are asking, I'm not happy, go. Or out of 7, 5 have cleared it. You 2 guys, you want, go to hell. Can chairperson say that? Yes, he can actually say. Why? Why? Good. Kaushiki, you are right. Why? In the exam, this could be a descriptive question and not MCQ. In which case, you might have to ask why. I think you have given the answer, G, correct. Because the words used in this section are not less than. So 2.33 cannot become 2. It has to become 3 only. Not less than 2.33. Will have be 3. You can't have 1/3 or 2/3 of directors running around. Okay, without head and all, you cannot have a director running around. Okay. No, because 2 is less than 1/3 of 7 directors. The resolution shall be passed at a physical conduct of meeting only if at least 3. So we should somehow pull 1 more guy in. Out of that 7, we should pull 1 more guy in. 3 we need it minimum. Okay, chairperson need not. Can is different. Boss, we use careful words. Should he is the question. Should he is the question. Should the chairperson have it? So the answer given by Sriram and Janvi and Kaushiki is correct. Okay, Prashantji, just understand that not less than means you have to go to the higher number. So one more thought I'm giving you here is this. Think like this. When you're reading a provision with this type of numbers and all that, think of some problems yourself. Imagine practical situation and try to think. Suppose such practical situations you are thinking and you are able to get one answer, but you are not sure or you want to get it checked with me, feel free to raise it in the query pad. Everybody will benefit from your thoughts. Wonderful, sir. Great. A resolution passed by circulation shall be noted at a subsequent meeting of the board or the committee thereof, as the case may be, and made part of the minutes of such meeting. Madam, I have this unfortunate problem. I am not able to remember all these things, by heart. So anyway, now I am saved because it is there. Is Rule 4 still applicable for our attempt? Yeah, it is applicable. Yes, very much. Okay, I will, one thing, suppose it has been deleted, I will have to check up and get back to you. But how your question is prompted, I am unable to understand. I am not aware that Rule 4 has been deleted or omitted. I am not aware. If so, I will clarify in the next class. But as of now, it is there. Okay, it is there. Yeah, because up to 30th June 21 only, pandemic relaxation was there, where you could do everything by video conferencing. Now, it has to be done only by physical mode. Okay, thank you. Anyway, I will take a rain check on this, and I will also get back to you on this. Okay. So good. So this is resolution by circulation is where they don't meet at all, whether by physical mode or video conferencing. They do not meet at all. A copy of the resolution is circulated in draft to all of them by email or whatever. They read it. That's it. They read it and then they say yes or no. If they can't discuss, that is when it becomes. So is this resolution by circulation not a video conference? Do 1/3 is about physical meeting? No. Whether one third, see, I'm sending the resolution by email. I'm sending some documents along with that, and I'm saying agree or disagree. Now you don't have enough information. You want to ask me questions. You can do that either in a video conferencing or in physical mode, but it has to be done face to face, right? Not by email. So one third can demand a meeting. That meeting could be either a video conferencing or by physical. Attendance of a board member can be either physically or through a video conference or through any other audiovisual means. We saw that in the first lecture when I started this. Jahanvi's question, again, I'm very difficult and I'm not able to. So Jahanvi says in RTP, it is mentioned Ministry of Corporate Affairs as amendment companies through enforcement of the company according to which the company is meaning rules shall be omitted. Sorry, then I'm at fault here. I will make a note of it. If RTP says so, 100% you have to follow only the RTP. My apologies. I will also verify this once, and then I will remove it from my PowerPoint. Okay, I'm very sorry. Sometimes it happens. Thank you, Ms. Janvi, for your kind support. And as far as whether it is there or not is concerned, RTP is final. Obey the RTP. Don't ask me whether it is. If it is there in the RTP, thank you for informing me. I will also omit it from my. What I will do now, I will not remove it. For knowledge sake, I will put it here. But I will put a bottom, I will say, instead of this, I will put whatever you have put now. Companies has omitted rule 4. And okay, that's all. Matter over. Thank you. Thank you for that. And when I'm sharing this PowerPoint, it will be clearly mentioned there. Good job. Now moving on to next question, next topic, circulation. See, we already saw the disqualifications of a director, right? Disqualifications of a director. Now, these disqualifications are maybe there, but without knowing that, a director might have been appointed and voted, he might have voted, etc., or given his consent and all that. Similarly, there might be some defect in his appointment. Procedurally, maybe the articles say that it should be so much, and that's not done. Whatever it is, these procedural defects will not invalidate anything done by the director. Are you able to understand? Because other third parties are also involved in this. So, act done by a person as a director shall not be deemed to be invalid, notwithstanding that it is subsequently noticed that his appointment was invalid by reason of any defect or disqualification or had terminated, okay, by virtue of this act. For example, he might have vacated office by some, one of the conditions. Suppose, see, all the board of directors or the companies and may not be aware of company law. They may not be aware. So this fellow signed some contract, or he passed a resolution, or whatever he did on behalf of the company, any act done by him will not become invalid merely because subsequently it is noticed or brought to the attention of the company. Subsequently, afterwards, it is brought to his attention. But knowingly, this fellow cannot do it. Where it's already been shown, okay, where acts done by the director after his appointment has been noticed to be invalid, to have terminated, shall not be valid. See, after you know about it, man should stop. He should not do anything. If he does anything, that shall not be valid. Now, you will ask $1 million question. How do we know whether it has been noticed or not, or like that? That is called evidencing. My son is an advocate, where everything has to be proved from first principles in the court of law. It is up to who is claiming that notice is not there, that I was not aware when I did it, director. He has to prove. Who is claiming that he has already become aware? Maybe the third party. The third party has to give evidence to prove that the directors were already aware that this guy was invalid, that was not appointed. Or the reverse also is possible. They will try to deny and say it's not valid, sir, because I'm aware. But then they won't allow. Knowingly, if you have done it, then the company is bound. No, you cannot say that. Okay, where without knowledge he did it, then it is valid. Okay, so that will be that will be decided only by the courts. Okay, but one thing is clear: anything done by the director after his appointment has been noticed by the company to be invalid or to have terminated shall not be valid. Simple logic. Simple logic. Okay, doctrine of constructive notice. And so we are aware of it. Third party cannot come and say, because he is not a director. We have already told he is not. Still he is doing it. How can I be bound by it? Okay, like that. But in those cases, the companies also would be well advised to regularize it or to publish a document saying this gentleman is no longer a director of our company, like that. Okay. Now, this type of section, where it says anything done by him will not be deemed to be invalid, notwithstanding that his appointment is invalid and all, is called Ganga clause. You will find Ganga clauses in many provisions. SEBI has a Ganga clause. Competition Act has a Ganga clause, which says that any defect in the appointment of a chairperson or member of the Competition Commission will not invalidate any order of the commission. So any order passed by it is in the valid, notwithstanding one member was not appointed correctly, etc. Otherwise, what will happen? No, the effect of appointment of chairperson will become the cause of action everywhere. They will keep on. So they say, even if he is not validly appointed, if the order has been passed validly, you are bound by it, go. So like that, this is called Ganga clause, as it purifies acts done by invalidly appointed directors. Even as the holy river Ganga purifies sin. For your information, in this year, from now on till the next Guru changing to the next planet, next constellation, the Guru is now in Aries. Okay, Aries. Guru is now in Aries. From Aries, he will move to Taurus next year. In between time, between when he is in Aries, if you take a dip in the holy Ganga, it is very, very better, because Meshesha Ganga, the Guru, when he is in Mesha, if you take bath in Ganga, it will further purify your sin. So take advantage of this added benefit and try to take a dip in the holy Ganga, ideally in Prayagraj. So this type of section is called Ganga clause, right? Taking a bath in Ganga alone will not purify your sin. Try to avoid doing sin. Try to avoid. That is a better way. So now we come to committees of the board. Sorry, I have to silent. See, there are many committees of the board. For example, there is something called the Share Transfer Committee or the Audit Committee or CapEx Committee. These are all committees. So the board, instead of meeting on every matter, for special subjects, they will form committees, disciplinary committee. Even our Central Council has many committees. So any big body will act through committees. So the committee will be given a specific goals. And these goals, and then finally, the committee will report to the board. Please note, the members of the committees are basically directors, not some third parties. They are basically directors. Only a director will become a member of these committees. And these committees act subject to the board. Final decision is the board. Committee cannot take any decision, except in one case where audit committee can take. We will see that. But even that, it has to go to the board. Okay. It is more of a delegation of power. We will see that. When I come to that, I'll tell you. Right. So two of the important committees are audit committee and nomination and remuneration committee. Now, normally, the Companies Act does not concern itself with the committees. You have any number of committees. What is your problem? You have watchman monitoring committee. No problem. Okay, like that. That is up to you. For convenience, you form committees, right? The whole purpose of a committee is not to take a decision. See, the minute when some controversial issue comes up, I've noticed many chairmen of boards and other people. This is a very complex matter. We'll form a committee. That means what? I don't want to take a decision now. I have not made up my mind. Wait. Now let the committee keep doing some nonsense. Finally, I will decide what I want. Then I will slowly tug the committee and tell them this is what I want. Then the committee will come and tell me what I want. This is how corporate management happens. Okay. That is how all management happens. Finally, we'll all be looking to the chairperson, what is his view, which way the cat is going to jump. Then finally, when we see the cat ready to pounce, we'll all prepare ourselves for supporting him. Whatever he says, we will say. Okay, if he says white crow is flying, we will say, yes, sir, white crow. Then 2 days later, he comes and says, no, what are you all telling, man? It's a black crow. Oh, sir, our eyes are all blind. It is a black crow. Allah, like that, we will say, that is the ultimate corporate behavior. If you are capable of doing it, not only in corporates, in those days, the ministers who were surrounding the king, have to do this. They have to do this. They will have to accept what the king says. Okay, the Rajan is final. Whatever he says, only the minister has to tell. So, sorry to make fun of this, but many board of directors are like that only. So, committees are generally there, but these two committees are powerful. In that, the audit committee is a very, very powerful committee. Other committees are constituted by voluntary decision, whereas these two committees are statutory, compulsory, meaning certain companies shall constitute the following committees. All listed public companies and companies that are required to appoint at least 2 independent directors shall constitute the following committees. All listed companies, audit committee, and companies that are required to appoint at least 2 independent directors. Do you remember? From your appointment of directors, please go there and see which are the type of companies, what is the paid up capital, turnover, loan, please. Best thing now, have a notebook. Have a small notebook like this, which I always carry around, or a small, you have a notebook. I'm sure you have a notebook, maybe a 5-subject notebook or whatever. In that, lick dijiye na, have one sheet, write out, have columns, and then write for independent director, what are the requirements. That becomes your cheat sheet. Okay. Or you can use this. This is called a cue card. I have more of them. I use cue cards a lot. In those days, for my lectures, I used to prepare cue cards. I used to study that section, Bare Act, then I will read some textbook, mostly no. Then I will make my own ideas, and then I will. That's how these PowerPoints are prepared. These PowerPoints are nothing but my cheat sheets. So that instead of looking at the cue card and telling, I'm looking at the PowerPoint and talking. But in the exam, you can't look at anything. So what you should do, you should start preparing with this notebook or with this cue card, so that over a period of time, whatever is in the cue card or the notebook will go into your mind, my heart. This is my unfortunate problem. However much I'm trying, these rule numbers and section numbers are not going into my head. In those days, Companies Act, I used to know section. If you tell me the section, I will go number, I will tell the section. If you tell the section, I will tell its number. That much, the topic, if you tell, I'll tell the number. That was my level of familiarity with the old law. But Buddha ho gaya na, so old law, now I'm not able to remember. Say, old law section, I can tell you now, but new law section, and I'm seriously bored with this new law. I hate it. So I don't want to remember the section numbers and all. So in future, please do not, humble request from your own teacher. Don't write rule 4, rule 6 and frighten me. Just say, sir, this rule, sir, then I will tell you. Okay, no problem. That is my problem. When I suddenly see rule 4, boss, you are all having all the books in front of you. I'm sitting in front of the laptop. I don't have the institute material, Bare Act, nothing in front of me. And I can't also close the screen and go there because you are seeing the screen. Otherwise, I can now itself go to rule 4 online and check and tell you, yes, it has been omitted, sorry, like that, which I will do during the break mostly. So coming back to the point, go back there and see what are those companies that are required to appoint at least 2 independent directors. I had one student called Abdul Aslam in intermediate class. That gentleman now, as I'm now talking to you, he'll put the conditions on the query pad. Well, I was so up to date on the topic. And still he was attending my lectures and used to have high regard for me. I don't know why, because that boy is so knowledgeable. And I'm such a stupid fellow. He knows everything. And as I'm talking to you, he will put the conditions. 3. There are 3 limits now. You remember? Okay. Anybody can put it now in the query pad as I'm talking to you. What are just put turnover, TO, PC, loan, the number, amount. That's all. Check out if you remember and help me. This is how you revise. When something comes up, immediately you go and refer to it again. Never remember. Okay. So those companies which are listed public companies and companies that are required. Again, I'm not able to understand listed public companies in the real sense. Listed means public company only can make a offer of shares to or debentures to the public. And a private company cannot make an offer. But some people have educated me and said, Sir Shrikant, there are companies, private companies, which have listed NCDs. Because NCD, to issue, they have to list it. So they will be listed private companies like that. Maybe so. But shares of a private company can never be listed. In that sense, it can never be called a listed company. Beautiful. Thank you, Sriram. All listed companies, all public companies having one. Paid up share capital, 10 crore. Turnover, 100 crore. Outstanding loans, borrowing, debentures, blah, blah, 50 crore. Great, sir. Really wonderful. Then you are the next Aslam. Great. So, having said that, similarly, they should also form what is known as nomination and remuneration committee, meaning managerial personnel, you remember, need to be interviewed by this nomination and remuneration committee. And only when they nominate and they will only fix the remuneration. Then it will come to the board and be finally approved. But it is a nomination and remuneration committee that fixes the remuneration and chooses the candidate. Beautiful, Purnima. 50, 100, 10. Loan, TOPUC. Wow, great. See this cheat sheet. Beautiful. So instead of me teaching, you are revising. So 50, share capital PUC 10 crore or more, turnover 100 crore or more, outstanding deposit, loan, etc. 50 crore. Thank you. Moving on. Audit committee constitution, minimum of 3 directors, minimum 3, with independent directors forming a majority. Are you able to understand? See, that is why normally a unlisted company which is satisfying the criteria, it is enough if it has 2. But suppose if you are also compulsorily, you have to form an audit committee, you need minimum of 3 now. So if you are not required to form an audit committee, okay. Otherwise, you need 3. So minimum 3 with independent directors forming a majority. Please note. Suppose you are having 5 directors in the audit committee, then 3 should be there now. Then what you do safely, you have only 2 independent directors. Now put them in the this thing. Okay. And one more non-independent director you put. So the independent directors will be majority. You have only 3. No problem. In those cases, it's enough if you have 2. But suppose you are having 5 audit committee, 5 members, then 3 should be independent. So even though you are required to appoint only 2, in that case, you have to have 3. Nice. All of you are putting up this. Majority members of audit committee, including its chairpersons, shall be persons with ability to read and understand the financial statement. So they should be having financial literacy. Not necessarily chartered accountant, cost accountant, etc. But they should be people with ability to read and understand the financial statement. Right. Then we have transitional provisions. Okay. So audit committee of a company existing immediately before the commencement of this act shall, within 1 year of such commencement, be reconstituted. So that is only for those, we are now in 2023, 10 years over. So all have been reconstituted. Every audit committee shall act in accordance with the terms of reference specified in writing by the board. So there will be a terms of reference, objects will be stated, powers will be told, duties, all that will be there in the terms of reference. So we can see that the recommendation for appointment, remuneration, and terms of appointment of auditors, review of monitor of the auditor's independence, performance, examination of financial statement and auditor's report, approval of any subsequent modification of transactions of the company with related parties. See, for later on, possibly on 4th, I will be talking elaborately about related parties. Elaborately, I will cover related party transaction. But right now, don't please ask me who is a related party. Baat mein bol raha hu. I'll 100% tell you. My Hindi is very bad. I know grammatically it was a wrong statement, but I will tell you future. Okay. But where there is a relationship with the related party transaction, at the time of appointment of the related party or entering into the transaction, you might have got the approval, etc. Subsequently, there might be modification of transactions. For those modification, the audit committee can approve it. So the audit committee is given power to approve. So that's why I said normally board will take all decisions, only recommendation. But the audit committee has certain powers. One of the power is to approve subsequent modification of transactions with related parties. See, we have approved the contract or we have approved the related party transaction. But now there is some modification subsequent to the appointment. That alone can be approved by the audit committee. Also, the audit committee may make omnibus approval for related party transactions proposed to be entered into by the company, subject to the conditions. So they might say, look here, related party transactions can be entered into, provided these conditions are satisfied. So they can, and if so, then omnibus approval, omnibus means total or complete approval for all put together. Omnibus means if many things are together, we take everything together and approve it. That is called omnibus approval. Approval of everything in one shot. Okay. Approval of everything in one shot is called omnibus. So we'll say, don't come to us individually for each one year. So long as it is less than 1 crore. If this condition is satisfied, it is approved. Take it like that. It's like a general approval. Okay. In case of transaction, other than transactions referred to in section 188, and where audit committee does not approve the transaction, it shall make its recommendation to the board. See, where the transaction is referred to in section 188 means there is a limit above which audit committee cannot approve. Matter has to go to the board. We will see that when we come to related party transactions. Above a certain value, thus the matter can be approved only by the board. Other than those transactions where audit committee is not approving, because all related party transactions will come to the audit committee, which is not approved by the board, it will come to audit committee. Audit committee may not approve it, in which case they cannot refuse. They will make the recommendation to the board. Board has the final choice. So these special provisions shall not apply to transaction other than a transaction referred to in section 188 between a holding company and its wholly owned subsidiary. So even if the transaction is referred to in 188, between holding and subsidiary, audit committee itself can approve. So normally, above a certain limit, you have to go to board. Below that, audit committee can approve it. But if the audit committee does not approve it, then they cannot totally reject it. It shall send it to the board. This is for those transactions which are below the limit specified in 188. In the case of holding and subsidiary company transaction, even if it exceeds the limit, it can still be approved by the audit committee. So the monetary limit they have prescribed is 1 crore. So any transaction involving any amount less than 1 crore, 999,999,999, where it is entered into by a director or officer of the company without obtaining the approval of the audit committee. So up to 1 crore, go to audit committee. If the audit committee does not approve, goes to board. If the board approves, that's nobody's problem. But if you are MD or director or officer of the company and you are entering into a related party transaction which is less than 1 crore and you are not obtaining the approval of the audit committee, then it should be at least ratified by the audit committee within 3 months. That is, after entering into the transaction, you should get it ratified by the. If you have done that, that also not done. You have not obtained the approval, you have not got it ratified, then the transaction shall be voidable at the option of the audit committee. Okay. Means what? This voidable word, you will again come across it when you come to 188. See, where you are entering into a transaction in violation of 188 or 184, the transaction becomes voidable. Meaning what? The party whose consent was not obtained by proper means can say, I am not agreeing to it. In this case, whose decision or whose consent was obtained, it was not free? The company. Because you have not informed the independent audit committee. Without their approval, you have done it. Therefore, that audit committee has the right to say, I am not interested in accepting it and rejecting it. When we come to 188, I will tell you more about this. But right now, for your thinking process, I'm telling this. All of you have studied Contract Act. In the Contract Act, we have something called free consent. There are 4 situations when consent may not be free. You know that. 4 situations where a person may enter into a contract, but his consent may not be free. His consent could have been obtained by coercion. I will hit you, sign. Like that they say, coercion. Or hit him and then say, if you don't sign, I will kill you, then sign. So it was obtained by committing or threatening to commit an act forbidden by the Indian Penal Code. And I'm quoting the Contract Act here. Similarly, where a person who is having a fiduciary relationship forces this company, this gentleman to sign. You know, you will always obey your uncle. So your uncle says, do this, you do it. But the uncle is doing something which is against your interest. So your consent was not free because undue influence was used on. Of course, misrepresentation and fraud. So the 4 matters, if they are there, free consent is. So in all these cases, the contract is not void. It is valid, but the person whose consent was not free has the option to resign to the contract. Such contracts are called voidable. Do you remember? Voidable contracts. A voidable contract is one which is voidable at the option of one or more parties thereto, but not at the option of the other or others. Who are the parties who can avoid a voidable contract? Only those whose consent has been not freely obtained. Where the consent is not free, in this case, the company is the one of the party. The company's consent was obtained, but it was not free. You have not come to an independent board and told it. You have taken a decision on your own. Therefore, that person who can take that decision, if they don't ratify it, they can avoid it. They can say, we are not bound. Okay. I know it is a little elaborate, but the word voidable you need to understand. Limit of 1 crore is per transaction, not aggregate, per transaction. Okay. Each time you can enter. But then sometimes, if you can break up contracts like that. If you can break up contracts like that, yes. Less than 1 crore, no need. But sometimes contracts itself will be, one contract will be more than 1 crore. In those cases, it is 1 per contract. Each transaction, any transaction involving any amount of 1 crore, not aggregate. This transaction, 1 crore. Less than 1 crore, audit committee. Above 1 crore. So every time the cycle starts, is the transaction less than 1 crore, audit committee. Not more than 1 crore, board. Okay. And in some cases, when the value of the transaction is high, you have to go to the members for passing a special resolution also. 3 levels are there. Right? In all cases, it's transactional and not aggregate. If the transaction is with a related party to any director or is authorized by any director, the director concerned shall indemnify the company against any loss incurred by it. See, after all, why should the company bear the loss? See, the audit committee does not ratify. Then you go for the contract is resigned, or the company has to pay heavy penalties or damages, whatever. Who is the person who disobeyed the law? The director, or the director who is related to the other party. That fellow should indemnify or make good the loss incurred. Indemnify means to make good or to compensate. To indemnify means to compensate. So whatever is the loss incurred by the company, that should be compensated by the director who is obtained this authorized the transaction or who is related. Also, we are still continuing with the terms of reference. We stopped here 4, now we are going on with 5. Scrutiny of intercorporate loans and investments, valuation of undertakings or assets of the company, evaluation of internal financial controls and risk management systems, monitoring the end use of funds raised through public offers and related matters. See, all this is nice to read, but how many audit committees have that type of independence? Maybe large listed companies, maybe, I don't know. That is why we need independent directors, and that is why independent directors shall be majority. Independent directors will form a majority. Only then there will be. Otherwise, if if your consent and your salary check are related, tell me, will you give consent or not? You, me, anybody. I'm not trying to push you there. I'm saying even I, where I have a financial benefit which is linked to my saying yes, sir, then why will I say no? So that is why independent directors are there, who have no financial or pecuniary interest. Now, audit committee may call for the comments of the auditors about internal control system, etc., scope of audit, observations of the auditor, review of financial statement, and all, and may also discuss any related issues with the internal and statutory auditors and the management. So the idea is overall financial oversight, which is good. See, the audit committee is a powerful tool for corporate governance if properly administered. The audit committee should have independent directors who are powerful and who should really control, and they should not be afraid of the MD and all. Okay. So like that they should. See, think about it. We had a famous gentleman in Maurya Empire. It's called Kautilya. Kautilya would have made a great independent director because he was truly, only worrying about what is good for the country, what is good for India, what is good for Mauryan Empire. Like that. Quoted Chandragupta Maurya blindly and fully. Why? Because our plan, Chandragupta had a role to play. Therefore, Chanakya said, I will support you. But when later Chandragupta Maurya misunderstood things they are doing is wrong. Like that. So that is the power of an independent director, right? If such power is used properly, great. The audit committee shall have the authority to investigate into any matter in relation to the item specified in the terms of reference or referred to it by the board. It can obtain professional advice from external sources and have full access to information. See, reason, even though they may have financial literacy, they may not have awareness about specialized subjects like direct taxes, GST, share market, capital markets, company law for that matter, so security laws. So in those cases, they can take external professional advice, etc. Okay. So the right of auditors and KMPs. The auditors of the company and KMP, key manager personnel, shall have the right to be heard in the meetings of the audit committee when it considers the auditor's report, but shall not have the right to vote. Why they have the right to be heard? Because there might be something wrong according to the audit committee. This guy should be able to come and explain, no, it is not wrong. For example, many audit committee members will think they know NDAs or they will think they know accounting standards. Sorry to use this word, think. So they will tell this is wrong, that is wrong. Then you have to go to them and say, Baba, you're right. So you can't say you are wrong, you are right. But this also is there, kindly considered. Oh, is it so, Mr. Srikanth? We didn't know. That is what, sir. You try to look at it that way. Okay, then it's okay. Go ahead. So we have to educate them and make them understand why what they are saying is not wrong. Maybe he heard it in some other company. There it was right, because contextually there. But here the situation is totally different. And the note given by us is the correct note. So finally, we have to educate him on what is India is, why accounting standards, why disclosure, some substance over form, etc., etc. One big lecture I have to give. Then only, okay, then it is correct. Mr. Srikanth, please proceed like that. So that in those cases, we should have the right to be heard. So the audit committee should be disclosed in the board's report, the composition of the audit committee, then non-acceptance of any recommendation of the audit committee together with reasons. Okay. The audit committee may recommend some changes to the balance sheet. I've seen many audit committees do this. They will say you put a note more powerful, because where the independent directors are there, they have to protect their assets. Why? Because if they don't disclose it thoroughly, tomorrow there is a fraud or some scam like Satyam. These fellows are out now. They'll be called in public and slippered. Why? Because you were there. Yeah, what were you doing? So they will bend over backwards to avoid controversy. They'll say you disclose it, you disclose it, you disclose that. But sometimes we'll have to tell them, boss, these disclosures are not needed. There is nothing. No, Mr. Srikanth, corporate governance, you please do it. Okay, Jala, I'll do it. What is that? Like that. In fact, the more information you give to the shareholder, the more you're confused. But there are certain matters where the audit committee will recommend that there should be a provision, especially in statutory matters, statutory dues. But the board may say no. My MD might veto. In which case, the board report should tell that the audit committee recommended like this. We rejected it like that. So that the audit committee is protected. Tomorrow, if any huge liability comes, the audit committee members can simply say, Baba, we recommended. We said pay and provide and pay. They have not done it. Sorry, what can we do? The following cases of companies shall establish vigil mechanism for their directors and employees to report their genuine concerns or grievances. That is, internally, there may be some fraud committed by the management. Maybe a director or any key employee or any employee for that matter is aware of the fraud. Then he should be able to report it to somebody inside the company. That is called vigil mechanism. Okay. So compulsory for all listed companies and companies which accept deposits from the public and companies which have borrowed money from banks and PFIs in excess of 50 crore. These three cases, there is a chance of fraud. Therefore, any director or employee should be able to report their, I repeat, the exclamation mark is there, my own, not in the act, genuine. I put exclamation because many cases, this knowledge, he will write some nonsense to the vigil mechanism. I have not. In fact, sometimes article clerks will become very thing. They see, after all, with 35 years, 40 years, 50 years experience, we are doing things. Just like this, will come day before restaurant and he will say, this is wrong, that is wrong. Okay, my dear friend, I'm so happy that you told it is wrong. I've considered it, taken it. Then he sees that we don't do it. He get angry. Then he will write an anonymous letter to the audit committee of that company, where you will say that these are wrong, that is wrong, your auditor is not correct. So then the audit committee will call, what is this, Mr. Srikanth? Then I say, sir, you only told, now you see what has happened. Anonymous guy, no, Srikanth, tell what to do. And they ignore it. I say, there is an anonymous letter. If a man cannot put his own name on it, don't ignore it is what I will tell. And what I'm trying to say is, sometimes these so-called grievances, yeah, I know it is a little poor on my side. Kindly bear with me and it will go away. Hopefully it will go away. Just give me 1 minute. I'll see how bad it is. Okay, let me see if I can connect to my... I have one more connectivity. Let me see if I can connect to that. Just give me 1 minute. Is it better now? I'm trying to connect through another connectivity. Let us see. Yeah. I think now it will be better. Just one or two of you confirm that it is okay. I am now using a different, connectivity. Okay. So, you are feeling better. I'm so happy that you are feeling better. It is better. Okay. So, and see, that's what I'm giving. Sometimes, when I talk, I might be giving some statements and all, which you might consider to be a little exceeding my limits. Unfortunately, I have no limits. In the Companies Act, there are many limits. But in my personal life, Srikanth has no limits. I have crossed every limit that was ever set long, long ago. I'm now going beyond all limits in my life. So the point I'm trying to make is, see, what I said, my father was suggesting you try to get rank in CA. I got rank in interfinal, ACS interfinal, like that. Any limit you give me, I'll cross it. Okay. Anything you tell, I will cross the limit. If you set one limit, I will go beyond that only. Below that, I cannot operate. Which is why I keep setting higher and higher limits for myself. Therefore, that is why sometimes I make statements that are also very bold. So, See, I have nothing wrong if anybody wants to share their genuine grievances. But simply for creating problem, trouble out of jealousy, you should not write anonymous petitions. Okay, that is my point. So it happens a lot. People have, or else, genuine disciplinary action might have been taken against an employee. Employee is not done his job correctly. Boss would have told, don't do like this. MD, the director or MD would have been a little harsh. You're paying you such a good salary. Why are you not coming on time? You're coming at any time. You're not doing a job. Immediately, he will start looking for small things and then write an anonymous petition to the vigil mechanism. Okay. Or even sometimes he'll put his name and send. You'll see that. But his identity has to be protected now. So we will create all sorts of problems. Okay. So these cases compulsory. In case of other companies, the board of directors shall nominate a director to play the role of audit committee for the purpose of vigil mechanism to whom other directors and employees may report. See, this all sounds good in theory, but in practice, who will have the guts? On the one hand, these frivolous fellows will do all nonsense. Who will always, whichever company he goes, he'll be creating problem for them. But the genuine people now who are genuine, they will never do, because boss, they have to come earn their salary. Maximum what he will do, if he sees these people are doing too much fraud, he will quietly float his CV, get a better job or even equivalent job and run away rather than stay in such a company. I've seen that in many job interviews. We ask, why are you coming? That person will say, I'm coming for the purpose of avoiding this problem, sir. Confidentially, don't tell anybody. I want to come out of this, like that. Now, companies which are required to constitute an audit committee shall oversee the vigil mechanism through that committee. And if any of the members of the committee have a conflict of interest, I'm coming through a better connection now. They should recuse themselves and the others on the audit committee with it. For example, I'll give a simple example. See, suppose an employee is complaining against the MD or against the director who is overseeing the vigil mechanism, or the committee member. One of the committee member is being accused. Imagine one employee is writing a letter and complaint is against one of the committee members. Then there's a conflict of interest now. Then he should recuse or she should recuse, and the other of the committee should deal. Okay, for example, if Chanda Kochar herself is sitting in the vigil mechanism committee and the complaint is about her, okay, she cannot continue there, yeah? Then what is it? Is a travesty of justice where she herself will sit in judgment over herself. And then what she will say, I'm doing it correctly, only get out like that. She will say, okay. So that is why all these are meant to protect who? The employees, the investors, public interest. This is going beyond investor protection and creditor protection. Beyond. These are all meant to protect public interest. Okay. We have crossed investor and creditor protection. That is already there. This is going beyond that. We are trying to protect investors, meaning not existing shareholders, potential investors, public at large, employees, consumers, government. Everything is being protected. For example, I don't know how many of you have seen this movie. I'm sure chances are very low that you have seen this movie. It's a very old movie. I think 2012 or 30. I don't know, more older than that. 5 or 6 or 7, 2007. Erin Brockovich, Julia Roberts, fantastic. Julia Roberts, one of her best performances. I mean, not maybe her best. I've seen her in other performances, but I really enjoyed watching Julia Roberts in Erin Brockovich, the eponymous heroine of the movie, who discovers an environmental, problem, and she assists an advocate to bring them to task. It's a beautiful movie. So that is also possible. Suppose the company is doing something that is polluting the environment, then an employee may want to complain about that. That is also vigil mechanism can be used for that also. So whatever it is, when this guy is trying to blow the whistle, we have to protect him. Am I correct? So the vigil mechanism shall provide for adequate safeguards against victimization of employees and directors who avail of the vigil mechanism, and provide direct access to the chairperson of the audit committee or the director nominated to play the role of audit committee, as the case may be in exceptional situations. So, of course, all this theory. Of course, in case of repeated frivolous complaints filed by a director or an employee, the audit committee or the director nominated to play the role of audit committee may take suitable action against the concerned director or employee. Suitable action, including reprimand. Okay, sorry, my hand is going like this. Because, see, fun is fun. Somewhere you have to be careful. Once or twice, if this fellow is punished, thereafter you'll be very careful about before giving frivolous. See, the operative word here, my dear friends, is frivolous. Frivolous means not serious. Frivolous means not serious. Just simply for creating problems without being serious, or matter is so silly, creating problem for that. Okay, these things are okay. Which is why, if you're already doing your article shape, or if you're going to do, whenever you get into a corporate audit or any audit for that matter, you find that there is some discrepancy. Don't immediately become so high. Don't get on a high horse and start spouting the sections and Ind AS and standard auditing. Because just because you studied it day before yesterday, you don't have to confuse the client. Come to your boss, discuss with him, have a free for all discussion, allow him to educate you. After all, the articleship period is meant for being educated. Okay, so get educated, then be guided by him, and then you go ahead and do it. This is the point. I've seen so many people, article clerks, especially third year, simply they'll be shouting at directors and employees. And I always insist, client is gold, God. Please don't hurt the client. You want to say something negative, please go ahead and say it. But say it politely, nicely, friendly, so that the client doesn't get irritated. Or make him understand, sir, these problems are there. This could result in some problem for you. I've already informed my partner. Reprimand means, what shall I say? Taking some, telling him not to do it very strictly. Strict command. Reprimand means strict command, telling him if you do it again, that is what will happen. Okay, warning. Now I got it. Reprimand is a warning. Reprimand means strict warning. Reprimand is not just a warning, because then you can use the word warning. No. Reprimand is a strict warning with a consequence. So don't do it again. If you do it, you will be sacked. That is a reprimand. Whereas, gentlemen, please don't do it again. I'm warning you. That is a warning. Okay, but boss, you have done it too many times. Next time you do this, you are out, man. That's the end of it, man, for you. That is a reprimand. English is a beautiful language. Some words have shades of meaning. You see, I'm an artist in watercolors. So in watercolors, you have easily about 300 shades. You have 300 shades. You can take just blue. You will find there are so many blues. You have this. This is cobalt blue. You have this. Okay. You have this. That is indigo. That's indigo blue. This is aquamarine. Just blue. And blue itself, there are 30. Azure is there. Okay. So many are there. And I'm just talking about blue. Forget. Then you have green, red. That is how language should be used. The way we use shades on a paper, colors, we have to use the nuances. So where one word will be better than another word, use that. So here they prefer the word reprimand rather than warning. Okay. So happened I'm sitting in the place where I normally do my watercoloring. So I had my watercolors ready and I could show you. And this is nothing. Using this too and white, I can create some more shades. Okay. So many shades I can create. But English also is like that. Learn more words so that you can use them in sentences. Give him a reprimand, strong. Warn him, slightly lower. Okay. Educate him, comfortable. Okay. Something like educate him. Okay. Or advise him, lower. Okay. Now, selection and nomination committee, constitution, 3 or more non-executive directors. Okay. Executive directors cannot sit in the selection and nomination committee, but in audit committee, they can be there. Please understand. It's only they're saying majority should be independent. Minimum 3 directors. For selection and nomination committee, executive committee directors cannot sit. Only non-executive directors can be part of it. Okay, 3 or more, 3 minimum or more, non-executive, out of which not less than 1/2, not less than 1/2. Okay, so it should be more than 1/2, not less than 1/2. Exactly 1/2 allowed. Exactly. For example, 4 directors, 2 non-executive independent, 2 non-executive non-independent. No, allowed, no problem. 2 directors, 1 independent, another non-independent. Both should be non-executive. Exactly half of 50-50 allowed, but not less than 1/2. The chairperson of the company, whether executive or non-executive, may be appointed as a member of the nomination and remuneration committee. Scold is also a beautiful word, correct? Reprimand, scold. That is, see what happens, who will scold who? Normally, mother will scold a child. MD will not scold an employee. Okay, see the nuance, see the shade of meaning. The minute you use the word scold, immediately you should remember a parent, especially a mother, to a young child. You do not scold an adolescent. Okay, or you do not scold an adult. Okay, of course, my wife scolds me a lot, but that again, see, the relationship is close, informal, right? So, like that. I mean, friends, I'm sorry if I'm boring you with all this talk about English and words and nuances, but then rich language, full of words. Learn to love it. It will become part of you and be very useful to you when you're growing in the hierarchy of an organization. You won't understand it at the lower stages in your career, wherever you are situated. But the minute you cross a certain level of hierarchy in an organization, ability to speak fluently and beautifully in English will become a great strength and asset for you. You won't understand it now. We may even enter into arguments as to language. Why can't we all speak in one language? Agreed. But go beyond that and acquire knowledge of this global language, which could be a passport for you all over the world. Wherever you go, you can feel free to talk. Okay, like that. Of course, I remember another beautiful example where I was in France. I was in Paris with a group of people from all over India. So my family was also with me and all families with us. So we had people from all over India. We had people from Delhi, we had people from Rajasthan, we had people from Andhra, we had people from Tamil Nadu, of course, all of us are together. In France, I do not know whether you're aware, the French will not speak English. In fact, if you speak in English in France, they won't reply to you in English. They will reply to you in France. Similar attitude that we find sometimes in my own country, I find. That I will speak in English, but I will get the answer in some other language. But the point is, there they will not. So some people from the north, they were there. This guy is talking in French. Immediately, that person said, speak in English. Then I started smiling at him and said, sir, now you will start empathizing with me in my own country. See, in my own country, I'm not able to speak in English. I can't say speak in English. But you are coming to France and telling a Frenchman, speak in English. Why? Because you are comfortable in English. Okay, why don't you learn French and talk to him in French? I mean, I'm just joking as usual. Think about it. English is... So, of course, the French people very well know how to speak in English. Again, my language. I will not speak any other language. Okay. Why the Chinese are winning all over the world and becoming aggressively strong? Because they learned English. Blindly, they started learning English. Chinese learned English like mad. If you go to China, you'll find teaching and learning English is a big business. I'm not joking. Check it out. Everywhere, Beijing, every city you'll find learn English, because those guys know the value of English. So, coming back to the topic, I'm sorry for the absolute, diversion. So 3 or more non-executive directors, out of which not less than 1/2 shall be independent directors. The chairperson of the company, whether executive or non-executive, may be appointed as a member of the nomination and remuneration committee. Okay. May be appointed as a member, the chairperson of the company, whether executive or non-executive. There is one exception, but shall not share the committee. So the chairperson, he may be non-executive, he may be executive, but one exception, the chairperson can. But usually, believe me, the chairperson would be non-executive. Normally, the chairperson ideally should be non-executive. Okay, ideally should be non-executive. Okay. This committee, selection committee, is identifying persons who are qualified to become directors, especially regarding their suitability for the job, whether their salary is commensurate with equivalent salaries or not. Then recommending to the board their appointment and removal. Only recommending. See, here they can only recommend. Specifying the manner of effective evaluation of performance of board. Imagine, employee performance is done by seniors and finally by the board. Even the executive people, CFO, CEO, they are evaluated by the board. Who will evaluate the board? The board of directors who will evaluate. Okay? Are you able to understand? Quis custodius ipsos custodes. There is who will police the policeman. Quis custodius ipsos custodes. Who will police the policeman? These guys are going to be, controlling everybody, who will control them? Therefore, there should be an evaluation of performance of board. And this committee will specify how to evaluate the performance of board. And etc. Again, this is a very, very esoteric topic, very theoretical. I have attended many seminars. I have even addressed a couple of seminars on performance, board performance and its evaluation. Very, very difficult. Unless the board submits itself to the evaluation, it cannot be done. See, sometimes, I'm also an executive coach, and I coach senior people like DGM, ED. Now, when you're coaching somebody at that level, now it's not easy because he's such a big shot. Unless they are willing to learn and grow and be willing to take feedback and accept that they can be wrong, it is very difficult to evaluate their performance. See, we can evaluate the performance. We have to finally give them feedback for improvement now. And they may not take it. They say, hey, go to hell, man. Who are you? Do you know who I am? Like that. Then we can't question now. How can you evaluate the performance of, for example, say, Mukesh Ambani? How you will evaluate? Or the board of Reliance, how will you evaluate? But who will do that? Not individuals. That will be done by a consulting firm. Like, for example, Ernst & Young Consulting or Arthur Anderson, not there, no. Price Waterhouse, Coopers, whatever, all that. They will do the evaluation of performance of the board. Okay. So that's how it will be done. They'll have some yardsticks and all. And then, because when they come now, it's an expert. So the board will be willing to listen. Even then, you have to be very careful because remember, finally, the check is going to be signed by these very same gentlemen who have asked you to give feedback. So you have to be, again, I told you, it is like how to give feedback to a king. The minister should be so carefully wording his comment. He cannot say, Raja, you are an ass like that. He cannot say, Raja, you made a mistake. That war that you fought with that kingdom was bad. We lost so much. You should not have done it. No. Gently you have to tell. When we look at the overall effect of that war financially, we found that these data was collected. Finally, it looks like your kingdom lost something like about 1 million out of this. Oh, is it so? Yeah, it is so. What we could have done? Okay, maybe you should not have fought that war. Think about it. Like that, we have to tell. We can't tell outright you are wrong like that. Yeah, their keyboard may be in French. Japanese keyboards are in Japanese. Okay, whatever. Anyway, good. In fact, Japanese notebooks themselves are meant for writing. They won't have cross lines. They'll be only dots so that they write from top to bottom. So their notebooks it's a pictograph. Huh? So they write from top to bottom like that. When you travel in your life, as you grow and you travel, you will realize that the world is bigger than wherever you stay. Okay. So we should not be like that Kupamandukam, where a small frog in a small well, there was another frog which came from the sea. And then the small frog in the well was asking the bigger frog, where are you coming from? Coming from the sea. What is the sea? Sea is huge, big. So the Mandugam, that Kupamandukam, that well frog is asking, is that sea 5 times my well, 6 times my well, like that? See, finally, this well frog, its ability to measure itself is limited to the well. So the other frog is telling you will never understand what the sea is. If your measuring rod is going to be this well, you cannot. It is huge. It is big like that. So like that, we should get out of that well and see the whole world. Then our perspectives will change and we'll become more open-minded and willing to take inputs from all civilizations, all countries, and then form our own independent ideas. So suggestion to all of you. Don't think that I'm wasting your time, but Think about it. Many of us are conditioned. Slowly we have to let go of this conditioning and be willing to take more and more new ideas and grow. So specifying the manner for effective evaluation is one of the jobs of the committee, right? And formulating the criteria for determining qualifications, positive attributes and independence, recommending all this. See, if you go to companies like Tata Group companies or even about 600 or 700, all the BT 500 companies, ET 500, BT 1000, ET 1000, up to 1500 companies in India would be doing this. The boards will have committees. They'll be doing all this. But the remaining lakhs and lakhs of companies will not do all these things. That is why it's not compulsory for them. It's compulsory only for certain types of companies. Okay. We already saw this. Okay. So, while deciding the policies, they should have the level and compensation of remuneration reasonable and sufficient to attract, retain, and motivate directors of that quality. Relationship of remuneration to performance is clear and meets appropriate. And the remuneration fixed for the KMPs and senior management involves a balance between fixed and incentive pay, reflecting short and long-term performance objectives. Okay, and so on and so forth. Senior management means personnel of the company who are members of its core management team, excluding board, comprising of all members of management, one level below the executive directors. Okay, including functional heads. For example, you might have director finance, right? Below him, there will be people. Below that, below him, the executive directors will be there. Then below him, the GMs and all, CGMs. That level would be called senior management. One more committee. We saw two committees, audit and nomination, selection and nomination. Nomination and remuneration committee, selection and nomination committee. Okay. In Schedule 5, we saw remuneration committee. Do you remember? In Schedule 5, we saw remuneration committee, right? That is for fixing the remuneration. This is stakeholders relationship committee. Stakeholders, meaning not just shareholders, shareholder, debenture holder, deposit holder, any other security holder. All of them, if suppose you are a shareholder of a large company, you want to make a complaint, you write a letter to the company secretary. Company secretary reads your letter and then he's getting bonda for, along with the tea, snacks, he gets bonda. The bonda is a little oily. He takes your letter and uses it to remove the oil. That is the respect the letter will have with that fellow. So who will respect? Therefore, they say there should be a stakeholders relationship committee of the board to which this letter will go. Then they will call the company secretary and ask, hey, what's happening? This guy says that he has not received his some dividend or whatever it is. What's happening? Please send a reply within the next 1 week and copy mark to us. So that is the role of a stakeholders relationship committee. Such committee shall consist of a chairperson who shall be a non-executive director and such other members. The stakeholder relationship committee shall consider the grievances of security holders. But inability to resolve or consider any grievance by stakeholders relationship committee in good faith shall not constitute a contravention. See, complaint is coming from one person. For want of a better name, I'm going to call him Donkey. Now that Donkey is sending one letter. What letter? Something I have not done, blah, done. Then this company secretary is called, secretarial team comes in. They come and say, sir, we wanted KYC from this gentleman, sir. He has to send these documents. Unless he sends these documents, we cannot do it. Now the stakeholders relationship writes a letter, sir, we are very keen on helping you, kindly send us. NATFLO sends another big letter saying, you people are wasting my time. Why are you not doing it immediately? He is again writing, Baba, you give the paper, yeah, I will do it. So my inability will not be a contravention. I have done my best to resolve for you. But you are not giving me the data, then what can I do? So everything should be documented. Any communication with these gentlemen, etc., should be documented. What was the action taken? What is the status? Okay. The chairperson of all these committees, 3 committees we have seen, should attend to the board, to the AGM. Okay. Or in his absence, any other member of the committee authorized by him shall attend general meetings, including AGM, EGM. Okay. In case these committees are not formed, etc., the company shall be punishable with a fine of 5 lakhs and every officer 1 lakh. Fantastic. We have come to a nice point in time. It's a nice time. It's 7:35 now, 7:25 now. Usually we have our break around this time, right? So I'm going to get into powers of board. And then I'm going to tell you about the powers of board a little bit. And at exactly 7:30, we'll have a break. So we have now finished meetings of board. We have finished the topic meetings of board. We are now moving into powers of board of directors. Now, the powers of the board of directors are going to be discussed. So it's a lengthy topic. In fact, the remaining portion of this topic is very, very lengthy. Huge number of sections, all of them important. You have 190, 185, 186, 180, 181, 182, 183, 184, 185, 186, 187, 188. All are important. See, I'm able to even tell the section number. That much they are important. Okay. In these cases, if you remember section number, it will be good. Nothing wrong. The powers of the board. The power of the board is collinear with that of the shareholders. Collinear means similar, same, equal. Collinear means equal in length. Means parallel. So whatever the company, the shareholders can do, technically the board can do. Theoretically, the board can thus theoretically do all acts and things as the company is entitled to do. Having said that, now onwards, the entire Companies Act is a systematic reduction in the powers of the board. Kyun or how? There are so many sections in the Companies Act which says you have to pass an ordinary resolution, you have to pass a special resolution. These are matters which cannot be done by the board. Though board's power is collinear, board cannot change the name of the company. Board cannot convert the private company to public company. Board cannot change the object class. Board cannot amend the capital class. Board cannot increase the authorized capital. You keep on, start from the beginning and come. You will find about 100 resolutions are there. All of them are restriction on the powers of the board. Board cannot do it. The board of directors of a company shall be entitled to exercise all such powers and to do all such acts and things as the company is authorized to exercise. But in exercising such power or doing such act or thing, the board shall be subject to the provisions contained in that behalf in the Companies Act, the memorandum, any other regulations made thereunder, not consistent in therewith, including those made by company in general meeting. So if the Companies Act says board cannot do only members, then members. If the memorandum and articles also, articles may provide. This can be done only. For example, I'll tell you something simple. Up to 1 crore, the articles may say, board can borrow up to 1 crore. Beyond 1 crore, you have to get approval from the shareholders. Articles can say. If so, the articles have to be obeyed. Similarly, there may be some other contract or any other regulation made by the company, so long as there is no conflict between that regulation and the memorandum articles or the Bear Act or the Companies Act. Okay, then the board's power will be subject to that. Board shall not exercise powers exercisable only by the company in general meeting, either under this act, MOA, memorandum, or articles, or otherwise. If it says only the company can do it, because SEBI, as somebody rightly pointed yesterday, SEBI also says, you have to pass a resolution, do this, do that. Whatever, where it says it can be done by the members only in general meeting, it cannot be done by the board. Whether by board meeting or resolution, circulation, it cannot be done. Okay. So this is any prior act of the board will not be invalidated. See, suppose there is an older provision in the articles. Based on that, the board has acted. Then this is amended. The new regulations will not invalidate the prior act. For example, the board of directors of a company on 5th of May 2022. I'm sorry, the shareholders of a company on 5th of May, they amended the articles. Up to now, up to 5th of May, the articles of association were saying the company can borrow money by passing a board resolution up to 1 crore. Beyond that, go to shareholders. Now the members of that company met and they amended the articles. They said 50 lakhs. They reduced it to 50 lakhs. In the meantime, on 3rd of May, the company had borrowed, the board of directors had borrowed, 75 lakhs by passing a resolution at the board meeting. Well, this is valid because when they passed the resolution, the articles was providing only 1 crore. Only on 5th May, it got amended, became 50. After 5th May, they cannot do. But anything done before cannot be invalidated. Any resolutions that are passed in a general meeting cannot invalidate any provision that the board directors made prior to the resolution. Okay. Yeah. As I told you, the entire Companies Act systematically reduces the powers of the board. Okay. So we are going to begin with 179. Certain matters which can be done only at a meeting of the board. Not now. Let us have a small break till say 7:40. We will have a break. Then again start. 7:40 we'll have a break. Welcome back from your much awaited break, and I hope you relaxed. Now, we are now getting into the crux of this chapter. Very important. Sections that follow are very important from the exam point of view, obviously. Okay, so let's be there and concentrate. If you have a doubt, you keep asking. Right now. Now, we already saw the concept of passing of resolutions by circulation. So certain matters, they said it's not very, very necessary for you all to meet in person. You can as well circulate the draft resolution and they can say yes if majority says yes of those who are entitled to vote. If a majority is accepting, resolution passed. The escape valve is also given. 1/3 of them say, not less than 1/3 say we have to have a meeting, you have a meeting. Okay, good. But now they say all matters cannot be done by circulation. All matters cannot be done by resolution by circulation. Certain matters have to be done only at board meetings. Meaning, certain matters can be done only at a physical or video conference board meeting where we can see each other, talk and exchange ideas and then take a decision. See, suppose I am not talking to you, okay, and I'm only going to answer your queries on the query board, it will be a different story. Okay, so you are able to see me, I am able to see your query, I am able to react and then talk. Imagine how it will be if I can also see you. You can also ask questions and I can answer even on a video conferencing mode. That will be better. Ideally, we should all meet in person, sit across each other, by duck, and then we should talk and discuss, deliberate. And finally, we can conclude. Certain matters shall be done only at a meeting of the board. So, the certain powers which you are going to see can only be exercised by the board by passing a resolution at a meeting of the board or at meetings of the board. What are they? Now I want you to see these matters as I'm taking you through them, look at them and try to tell me what could be common elements in these matters. What could be a common thread? What could be something that is common in all these matters? Common. They are alag-alag. Each one is a separate subject, no doubt, but there is a common there. So they are all common in one way. Try to tell me what they are, what that is. Just to ensure that I know you are all there and not sleeping or you are available here. Make calls on shareholders in respect of monies unpaid on their shares. To make calls, you need to have it only at a meeting of the board, no circular resolution. Authorize the buyback of securities and shares. When you studied in intermediate, you would have studied that up to 10% of the paid up capital and free reserves can be bought back by passing a board resolution. That resolution can be passed only at a meeting of the board, authorizing the buyback. Issue securities and invest the funds of the company, investing the funds of the company, right? Borrowing money. Of course, one exception is this does not apply to borrowing monies from the company's bankers by a banking company. I'm sorry. Borrowing monies for all other companies. Banking company, it will not apply. When it is borrowing from other banking companies or RBI or other banks. Okay. Whatever. So, where a banking company is borrowing from other banks or RBI, it won't apply. Grant loans or give guarantee or provide security in respect of loans. Right? Agreed. Approve the financial statement and board's report. Take over a company or acquire a controlling or substantial stake in that company. Or approve amalgamation, merger or reconstruction. Diversifying the business. Any other matter. Okay. So what is the common thread? Making calls, authorizing buyback, issuing securities. Means if you want to go over a public issue, board resolution at a board meeting. Of course, you also have to pass a general meeting resolution. Investing the funds of the company, borrowing money, other than bank borrowing from RBI and other banks, granting loans, approving the financial statement, takeover, amalgamation or merger, diversifying the business. All items, Kaushiki, all related to shares of a company, that is related to shareholders or investors. No, not necessarily, but yeah, because here you are giving a loan, you are borrowing money, agreed, investing funds. So it's not only shareholders. Go beyond that, deeper than that. We have Kaushiki coming out with the concept of all related to financing and investing. Yes, all these items have a common element. Substantial capital item of inflow and outflow of money, in and out. These are all non-current transactions. Money going in, money coming out. Especially in the cash flow statement, all this will come in financing or investing activities. In fact, yeah, Kaushik uses the same word as in AS3. Yeah. Financing and investing. These are not part of operations. These are financing and investing activities. Beautifully said. Therefore, they are very important. So they need deliberation. You can't simply send a circular resolution, agree. No. You have to sit, talk. What are the consequences, repercussions, strategic implications of what you're doing, especially for borrowing money, granting loan, investing the funds, takeover, acquisition, amalgamation, merger, diversification. These are strategic issues. So going beyond financing, if you ask me, some of these are even strategic. For example, these three are strategic. Takeover, amalgamation, and diversification. Strategic. Of course, that is not a common thread because other items are not strategic. But the real common thread is they deal with inflow or outflow of money in terms of financing or investing activity. Therefore, they need some amount of deliberation. That way, even sales is going concern, purchase is going concern, operational issues are going concern now. I think they are more going concern than these because a company may not be going concern, but you may be selling off, you may be borrowing. So my humble request is no. Going concern is a different concept. So I would say operational activities are defining for going concern. These are not for going concern. Good, you've thought like that, but see, sometimes, I'm afraid to tell that a student is wrong because then they will get angry with me. So I talked to the king, I told the minister has to talk like that. Teacher today has to talk to the student. Maybe you are wrong. Maybe think like that. Like that, teacher has to talk. In those days, teachers were rough and tough. They said, you are wrong, don't waste my time. But today's teachers, we have to be very careful. Just check out, maybe you are wrong. Maybe look at it like that. Otherwise, student will get angry. And they'll go to some other coaching institute. Just joking. This is the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. It is the ultimate knowledge portal where we come here only for sharing knowledge and learning, right? So no other consideration. Good. So consumer is king. But that attitude maybe you should all change. Student can never be a consumer. Teacher can never be a service provider. If that is so, then that person who thinks of himself or herself as a service provider is not a true guru. Are you able to understand? So this is my humble view. Don't mistake me. So commercialization of teaching should be not a good idea. See, certain people have to hurt. Certain people have to hurt. For example, a physician operating on a patient has to hurt. In fact, my dentist, whenever I go to him, he will make me sit in the chair, and that too in a defenseless position. He will open my mouth and then start poking, and he will say, Shrikant, don't worry, I will not cause unintentional pain. You are going to cause pain, whether it is intentional or unintentional, how do I know, yaar? So I will not cause unintentional pain. Like that, he will say, Krishna, don't worry, I will not. But beauty is, suddenly he will say it is over. Hey, you got the tooth out? Yes, I have taken it out. Go. Fantastic dentist. But I'm saying some people have to cause pain. Similarly, a coach or a teacher or a trainer he has to cause a little pain. Otherwise, how will you say, you want to develop muscles? I have to make you work. Physical muscles in the body, yes. Here I am trying to develop a big goal is to ensure that all of you get not less than 60 in company law. That I have achieved. That I have achieved. But the process is under my control. You don't decide the process. You have decided the product now. Then leave the process to me as a teacher. You don't also control the process and say, this is how you have to teach. This is how you should do. This is how I should be taught. Then if you control the process, you lose the product. If you define the product, leave the process to the expert, they will take care of it. These are choices. I mean, I'm trying to help you to understand. Don't mistake me. Of course, today it's all big commercial thing. Yeah. Everybody is trying to make money out of it. Money out of the need of students without studying or without going through the process to pass. Give me money, I'll make you CA. How is it possible? It is not possible. Money cannot make you CA. Hard work cannot make you CA. Understanding the subject, understanding the examination, understanding what a CA is supposed to know, acquiring that knowledge in a systematic manner from a good teacher, that can make you a CA. Or reading the book and acquiring that knowledge, that can make you a CA. Chalo. Some more items are there which are prescribed under Rule 8. Certain other matters prescribed under Rule 8. To make political contributions, to appoint or remove key managerial personnel. Very, very important according to me. See, one more point you should understand. When we say certain powers to be exercised by passing resolutions at board meetings, we are not talking only about circular resolution. Please listen to me. We are not talking only about circular resolution. Though that is one thing. These matters which we are now discussing cannot be passed by circulation. Also, these matters cannot be delegated to the MD. The board cannot delegate these powers to the managing director or whole-time director. Are you able to understand? So these matters, collectively, the board has to take the decision. They cannot simply delegate and say, Mr. Managing Director, do what you think is best. No. Other things you can do. Buying of capital IT equipment, delegate it to MD, then MD will do whatever. Like that you can do. But these matters cannot be delegated to the managing director, especially appointment or removal of KMP. This is a very great protection for us. CFO, CS, company secretary, CEO. Just like that, the MD or WTD cannot remove these people, key managerial personnel, especially the company secretary. Suppose the company secretary has a genuine grievance about corporate governance and the MD is trying to remove that person. Company secretary says, sorry, sir. My removal cannot be done by you. It can be done only by the board. Where there is independent directors and all, I will talk to them and I'll explain what is the issue. Then, if the board feels I have to go, I will go. But at that time, you can't, the way I will go will not be the way you are doing it. Because you can't dismiss me. I will see. Then I will give my notice period. I will resign. I'll take 3 months notice. I will look for a better job and I will go. That right I have. Because the board will decide whether I am to be. And at that time, the board will decide. Go through the contract. You can't just like that dismiss me. So this way, when the MDs of companies are behaving erratically, the law will protect the KMP. Similarly, appointment of internal and statutory auditor cannot be done by circular resolution or by MD. Please note, managing director cannot appoint internal auditor and statutory auditor. Only board can appoint. Of course, statutory auditor appointment, only the first auditor will be appointed by the board. Thereafter, if 6th AGM onwards, it will be appointed only by the members. But remember, any casual vacancy other than resignation can be filled by the board. When these are done, when the statutory auditor is being appointed by the board, then it can be done only at a meeting of board, not elsewhere. Delegation of powers of the board. Now, so we have seen matters which cannot be delegated. But still, out of this, just look at these 3. Making investment, investing the funds, borrowing money, giving loans, granting loans or giving guarantee or providing. These 3 matters are not so, shall we say, strategic. Routine borrowing can also be there. Routine loans can be given. Similarly, routine investments can be made. For that, every time if I have to go to a board meeting, it is going to be real pain. Therefore, the board of directors may delegate the power to borrow monies, to invest funds, and to grant loans, give guarantee or security by passing a resolution at board meeting. Okay. See, in the old law, the wording was at a meeting of the board. It's a nice, beautiful language. Here they have made it at board meeting. At a board meeting at least, or at board meeting. So the board of directors may delegate the power. Delegate means to transfer power with some limitations to a person below you. You are having certain powers. You can transfer it to that person along with some authority. Okay, but responsibility cannot be delegated. Ultimate responsibility is with the top. But powers can be delegated. And along with it, you can also give some authority, power or authority. Along with it, you can also give some conditions and rules. Whatever it is, you can pass a resolution. But that resolution cannot be circular resolution. It has to be passed at a board meeting. You can delegate this power either to a committee, can have a loan committee, investment committee. Why not? Managing director can be given the power. Manager, any other principal officer, a principal officer of a branch office. See, for example, take a bank. Bank has so many officers. Even at branch offices, there are officers. Now, all these people can sanction loans. So they have powers now. That should be approved at a meeting of the board. So every year, the delegation of powers resolution for a bank will be passed. It will not be a small resolution. It will be a booklet where finally they will say approved at board meetings held on so-and-so date, passed. Then it will be publicly printed and sent to all the branches so that everybody will know what is the AGM power, what is the branch CM power, chief manager power, what is the, and finally certain matters they will say above this, it comes to committee. Above that, it comes to board. Huge loans will come to the board finally for us. Okay. So that delegation of powers. Banking companies, okay, merely accepting by a banking company in the ordinary course of business of deposits from the public, repayable on demand or otherwise, and withdrawable by check, draft, etc., does not amount to borrowing of monies. So that can be done without board resolution. Otherwise, boss, every day I'm going to accept deposits from public. Yeah, if you treat that as borrowing, gone. So you need not delegate. They can borrow. But lending, no. That branch officer, you should pass the board resolution. But merely accepting deposits, demand, on demand means current account, savings bank, on demand, fixed deposits, which are otherwise, term deposits, whatever it is. The power to borrow monies mentioned in 179(3)(d) pertains to the actual borrowing and not to the day-to-day operation of such loan facility. For example, we have taken a cash credit from a bank for, let us say, 15 crores. Now, MD is given the power to sign checks and to withdraw from that. So, merely the day-to-day operation of that loan facility will not amount to borrowing. Because the original decision to borrow 15 crores limit was done at a board meeting or delegated to committee and done. Thereafter, MD can operate, signing checks, controlling the usage of that borrowing. That cannot amount to borrowing. It's merely day-to-day operation of the facility. The board of directors of a Section 8 company may exercise powers mentioned in 179(3)(d) to F by passing circular resolution. D to F. That is A, B, C, D, E, F. These three matters. D, you say A, this is A, B, C, D. This is E, F. So D to F can be done by Section 8 company by passing circular resolution. So this D to F are very important in it. D, E, F. Okay. D, E, F can be delegated. Section 8 company can even pass a circular resolution for it. The company in general meeting can always impose restrictions and conditions on the board in respect of the above powers. No problem. Now, up to now we have seen matters which can be transacted only at meetings of board. Meeting of board. Agreed. Now we are going further restriction of power. Please note. Up to now, what are matters you studied here? Remember, this can be done by the board, but cannot be done by MD, cannot be done by resolution by circulation, can be done only by passing a resolution at board meetings. Agreed? Now we are going to see powers which are going to be exercised by the board only after obtaining the sanction by way of special resolution. So these powers cannot be done by board unless they get the sanction of the company by way of special resolution. Powers of the board to be exercised only with the consent of the company by a special resolution. Very, very important, not only from exam point of view, from your future career point of view, because these matters can come up when you're negotiating with a bank for your company, trying to borrow huge amount on behalf of your company. These matters will come up. When you're trying to mortgage the assets of the company, when you're trying to give the assets of the company as a security, or leasing the company, or selling out a unit, undertaking. Don't forget 181A. 181A. So these powers can be exercised only with the consent of the company by a special resolution. What are they? To sell, lease, or otherwise dispose of the whole or substantially the whole of the undertaking of the company. To sell. Clear, na? Selling. Lease means rent out. Or otherwise dispose of. This word otherwise dispose of is a very huge word. Means any method by which limited title in immovable property is transferred. Immovable property or undertaking of the company. Okay. When you are trying to transfer. But here you are talking about undertaking, not about immovable property. Okay. Or where the company. So you are going to sell, lease, or otherwise dispose of the whole or substantially the whole of the undertaking of the company. We'll see what is an undertaking very shortly. Or where the company owns more than one undertaking of the whole or substantially the whole of any of such undertakings. See, there's only one undertaking. Then you are selling the whole or substantially the whole of that undertaking. More than one undertaking, then any one of those undertakings, whole or substantially the whole you are selling. Then you have to get the consent by way of special resolution from the members. What is an undertaking? It's a very important question. Undertaking means, shall mean an undertaking. Okay, we'll talk about what is an undertaking. Any collection of assets and means by which the company engages in its activities, earns its profit, is called undertaking. Okay. For example, Ultratech Cement is engaged in manufacturing cement. So the entire cement division consisting of possibly 15 cement factories would be an undertaking. One example. Entire cement division. Okay. Entire cement division. Including, say, 15 cement factories distributed all over India would be, I mean, I'm just assuming it may not have more, it may have less. I don't know. Just for example, 15. All the 15 factories together, cement division undertaking. So if I'm selling the entire cement division, that is sale of the whole or substantial whole of the undertaking. Okay. I'm having 50 in cement factories now. Out of that each cement factory is an undertaking. So I own more than one undertaking. Then if I sell one full cement factory, that also amounts to sale of an undertaking. Okay. So undertaking shall mean an undertaking in which the investment of the company exceeds 20% of its net worth as per audited balance sheet, or which generates 20% of the total income of the company during the previous financial year. That's why I'm giving you two types of understanding. There might be a cement company that is engaged in cement business, construction business, infrastructure development, blah, blah, blah. Then this set of cement factories put together will become one undertaking. So long as the investment of the company exceeds 20% of its net worth in that division. So you have to take the balance sheet first and make the calculation. What are the value of the assets in the as per the audited balance sheet, not as per valuation, but as per book value, as per balance sheet. See what is the investment of the in all its undertakings. On the asset side of the balance sheet, you see. Then take division wise or vertical wise, and then see how much is invested in this vertical. If it exceeds 20% of the net worth, then that is an undertaking. Or it is not exceeding 20%. Then check out whether, see the total income of the company. Please understand income. Then compute division-wise income, not turnover, income. And then see whether this vertical or division gets more than 20%. Okay. Same, suppose you are having 15 cement factories. See whether you are going to sell one cement factory. See whether the investment of the company in that factory exceeds 20% of its net worth. Or see what is the income of that factory. This is where things become a little dicey. How are you going to compute the income? You have to do it. You have to compute it separately for that factory. Then you have to take corporate expenses and use some logic to apportion all that blah. And then you get 20%. See whether it's more than 20%. See, so that is why this, see, now you understand why our profession, we are going to be paid a lot. Because all this work who will do? Not company secretary. We, the chartered accountants, we only are competent to do this. Unless we put our chop and stamp on it, nobody is going to, board of directors says, sorry sir, Mr. Company Secretary, please ensure that our CFO has approved it, statutory auditor has approved it, then only we'll touch it. Okay, or independent firm of CA should come and do the study, let them give a report, then again the statutory auditor, because finally the statutory auditor has to sign off on that balance sheet, Baba. So everybody has to see it once and approve it. Okay, so that is why this becomes very, that's why I told you these sections are relevant for you as a CA. Don't think this is company law surf and that you don't have to know after all, sir, a company law is being removed from the syllabus like that. Even if it is removed from the syllabus, my dear friends, these sections are relevant for you because they will impact on your day-to-day working as a chartered accountant. Okay, I hope you are clear up to here. Good. Now, substantially the whole of the undertaking means what? In any financial year, shall mean 20% or more of the value of the undertaking as per audited balance sheet. Please. We defined undertaking means investment more than 20% of net worth or total income more than 20% of total income. Okay. Now, we are having a cement factory, but we are not selling the entire factory. Okay. I'll put it this way. The cement factory may be having, the factory may be situated, let us say, in about 40 acres. Along with that 40 acres, another 20 acres land is there. I'm not selling that land. I'm only selling this 40 acres. But the entire 40 plus 20, 60 acres comes under my cemented that factory. It is all in that factory, balance sheet of that factory. That is, it's shown as factory asset. But I'm not selling the whole thing. I'm retaining 20 acres land, possibly for development, blah, whatever. This 40 acres is going, I mean, not only the 40 acres land, along with the machinery, globally, the cement factory is going. Please understand. Now, am I selling substantially the whole of the undertaking? How to find out? Take the value of the undertaking, meaning in total, including all the land. Then see what is the value of the land which you are going to part of the cement factory, the machinery, building, blah, 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 total. Again, not per valuation, but per balance sheet. And then see whether what you are going to give, okay, will be 20% or more of the value of the undertaking. If so, then it is substantially lower because you are not selling the whole now. 20 acres is not being sold, right? So the remaining is more than 20% of the value of the undertaking. So what you need to do, you need to see the value of the undertaking as a whole and see whether this portion that you're selling would be more than 20% or more. Okay. That's very clearly numerically given. In fact, in the last year, for 22 March, when I was signing a balance sheet, this specific issue came up for a client. In fact, the client came to us well during the year itself and cleared 181A with us, and then only they entered into the transaction. So auditing was not a problem. But see, clients who do this, especially we encourage clients to come to us in between and not wait for the audit. I educate my CFOs and my MDs and all. I tell them, look here, my dear friends, don't bring me surprise packages. Call me, I will come. You just call me, I'll come. If it is within Chennai, I'll come within, say, 24 hours, I'll be with you, 48 hours or over the phone. Or else if it is anywhere else in Tamil Nadu, I'll come by flight, one flight morning, I'll come, finish the discussion, go. Half your problem will be solved. So they also say, Srikanth, you come over, we'll finish it and go. We discuss. Matter over. Then if I need another 2 days to discuss or deliberate, then I will give finally, I'll send a mail to you giving my view. Take it or leave it. Thereafter, it's the ball is in your court. You do, don't do. I will give my view and go. So this is idea. Also understand in the context of what I just now told you, the institute examination is meant to test whether you will be able to give advice to the board on these matters. So the questions are going to be practical and your answer is nothing but the advice you are going to give to the board. Therefore, how you word it also becomes very interesting. Remember, because you are drafting a reply to the top authority of your client. So the way you write also will make a nice difference. Can you please repeat value of undertaking? This repeat is so painful for me. Can you ask me specific doubt, Namrata ji? Where you are having, because you are a highly intelligent student. I have explained so slowly. Where is the doubt? Give a practical example, I will try to answer. This repeat thing, sometimes becomes painful for a teacher. You have explained it fully. Again, repeat. If I repeat it, will you understand it? Then concentrate. I will repeat one more time. But you have to confirm that you have understood. If not, you have to ask me a specific question. Whenever the company is selling, leasing, or otherwise disposing the whole or substantial whole of the undertaking, you have to get the approval of the shareholders by special resolution. Or where it moves more than one undertaking, if it sells the whole or substantially the whole of any undertaking. So first we should know what is undertaking. Take the balance sheet of the company. On the asset side, see whether the company has one undertaking or more than one undertaking. For example, company have cement, construction, all. Take each vertical. See the total investment in that vertical, meaning the total value of the assets in all the verticals. The total value of assets in that company, invested in that company on the asset side, total. Then you take this undertaking that you are going to sell, lease, or otherwise dispose of. This value, is it 20% does it exceed 20% of the net worth as per the audited balance sheet? Net worth definition given in the Companies Act. Paid up capital, free reserves, does not include revaluation reserve. Free reserve means reserve which is available for distribution of dividend. Revaluation reserve not to be included. Reserves arising out of adjustment for fair value not allowed. Okay? Only those reserves which are available for distribution as dividend allowed. Total, that is net worth. So calculate 20% of net worth. Take the investment in this division or in this undertaking. Does the value of this undertaking, the investment in this undertaking, does it exceed 20% of net worth? Or is it 20% of its net worth? More than 20%. Then you need to comply with 180. Or it is not, no sir, the investment is less than 20%. No problem. Check out what is the total income of the company. Okay. Then, sorry, there's a slide. I should have explained it clearly. Yeah, good thing. The investment of the company, okay, does it exceed 20% of its net worth? Or which generates 20% of the total income of the company? Meaning what? See what is the income of this division. See what is the total income. Then see whether this fellow is generating 20 or more. Then you have to take the total income of the company. Income, meaning bottom line, for profit for the year. Then see what is the profit for the year for this undertaking, for this cement or whatever. If this exceeds 20% or more, generates 20% or more of the total income, then also you have to comply with section 180. Okay, I'm sorry. That's why I'm explaining it all over again. But it cannot be done like that. Then everybody has a network problem. It's going to be difficult. Now, anyway, in this one case, I'm doing it. But I want you to confirm that you have now got it loud and clear and you have understood. Right. This is for undertaking. Suppose you are having a cement division. In that cement, or your entire activity is cement. You are having 15 different factories. Now you're going to sell one factory. To check out whether that is an undertaking, we have to do what all I said. See the total asset, investment. See what is the investment in this cement factory. If it is 20% or more, if it exceeds 20%, or if the income from that cement plant alone is 20% or more, you have to take. Or if you are not selling, this much I explained. I gave you an example for substantially the whole. Company has 15 cement plants all over India. We are going to sell one plant now in Dadepalli Kudam. No problem. Tadepallikudam plant is being sold. In the Tadepallikudam plant, I'm having 60 acres. Out of that, 40 acres, mines and cement plant, everything is there. Remaining 20 acres available. I may do anything with it, boss. That's not my problem. I'm not selling it along with this. Now I have to see whether I'm selling substantially the whole of the undertaking. Because I'm not selling the entire undertaking, right? I'm selling substantially the whole of the undertaking. For that, how to calculate? Take the whole value of the undertaking, meaning the total investment as per the audited balance sheet in the Tadepallikudam plant. Then see what is the investment in the cement plant. That is the 40 acres, building, land, machinery, blah, 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 everything. Then you see the total. Then see whether this will be 20% or more. If it is, then it is substantially the whole of the undertaking. Okay. So I hope, Madam Namrata ji, can you confirm that I have explained it again? I have wasted a little bit of my saliva. So kindly confirm if you have understood. Now, if you have not understood, you will have to give me specifically where. Sir, this part I don't understand, I will explain. 100% I will explain. Don't worry. I'm here to ensure that you understood. Just confirm that you have understood this part. This can be done only with a balance sheet in your hand. Theoretically, abstract way fatal, I've given you my best. Take a real example, you will see. For this, you need all the information. Now, you might ask me, where will I get the information from? You won't get. But if you are the CFO of the company, you will jolly well get. Because the entire MIS of the company will be with you, boss. Cost center wise, you should be having everything. If you are not having, then create such an MIS. That is the first job you have to do. As a CFO, as a chartered accountant, you go there. You should ensure that information is collected, collated, and kept so that I can give you product-wise profitability, division-wise profitability, vertical-wise profitability. Everything I should be able to give you. That is called financial MIS. Once you get into a company as a CFO, that is what you're supposed to do. Okay. Okay, I'm still not getting any confirmation from Namrata ji, but I hope and pray to God that she has understood it. And first of all, that she has heard it, that the connection was good, and that she has understood it. Okay. Now, so this is the first one. We still have 5 more, 4 more, 3 more, totally 4. Okay, we still have 3 more. We are still in 1. Thank you, Namrata. Thank you. While determining substantially whole, we first need to do an undertaking. Correct? First, you decide, take the undertaking. Then you have to see whether it's substantially the whole. For that, you have to see whether this undertaking that you're selling or this asset that you're selling will be exceeding 20% or more of the value. Okay. Everywhere you have to see. Sriram, that's a very dangerous question you are asking me. There is no guidance. What are all to be considered in arriving at? Do we need to consider all sorts of income which the company receives? Boss, you are also studying another topic called costing. Okay, where you will be studying how to find out how to apportion cost and all. So all that you have to apply. Whatever pertains to this undertaking, you have to take. It's up to you how you do it. Do it rationally and logically. That's all. Okay. There is no rule like how it should be done and all that. Okay. You have to do it. That's why you are a chartered accountant. You are going to become a chartered accountant. Take a call. See what are all the other income pertaining to this undertaking. You will jolly well have to take it. Closing stock, boss. Closing stock of this undertaking you have to take for calculating operating profit of this undertaking. Closing stock of all the undertakings put together, including this undertaking for the company as a whole. Okay. Yeah. So to teach company, I have to teach you finance. Huh? Division-wise profitability, how you will find out. Like that. You have to do it. It is not impossible. Yeah. It is difficult. That's all. It's not impossible. Okay. If we go there, then this whole class is not enough. Okay. But use your knowledge as a chartered accountant, future chartered accountant, how to do it. Any specific doubts are there? Best suggestion. Go to the ministry. Give them a query. Ask them to answer. That's all. They will tell you if you have a doubt. Don't play games. Go to them. They are the guys who put all these laws. Let them tell you if you have a doubt, genuine doubt. Okay, you go there. There need not be bus. See, you are studying to become a chartered accountant. You will understand. Once you get into the P&L account now, you then formulate column wise. pertaining to the undertaking, common. Anything pertaining to the undertaking comes in. Then common. Out of the common, any proportion is pertaining to this undertaking, take it there. That's all. And then income is coming. Income tax. For this income, calculate the marginal rate or whatever. You get the income tax. Okay. So it's not very difficult. Yeah, you have to consider all the income pertaining to that undertaking. Okay. Now, suppose the directors have not passed the special resolution. They have sold the asset or leased the asset, mainly sold the asset to somebody, third party, but they have not obtained the sanction by way of special resolution. How about the title of the third party? Innocent fellow. Nothing contained in clause A of subsection 1 shall affect the title, means ownership, right, owner's right, or whatever right of a buyer or other person who buys or takes on lease any property, investment, or undertaking, as is referred to in that clause, in good faith. Good faith. You studied this word in good faith in intermediate, when you studied General Clauses Act, where you are, in good faith means innocent. I am not aware of any. So this is also similar to doctrine of indoor management. You are a third party. You may not know that there is a need for sanction. Of course, there to an extent, doctrine of constructive notice will apply. Suppose it is contained in the articles. But suppose it is not in the articles, then you are safe. So doctrine of constructive notice will apply. There again, you are a bank. That is why most banks, when they lend money, because otherwise dispose of includes mortgaging also, where the assets of the company are mortgaged and company is raising funds on mortgage. In those cases, the banks will insist on 181-year resolution. They will insist because you are otherwise disposing of the whole or substantial whole of your undertaking. Please get a special resolution passed. Okay. Sale, lease, or any property of the company where in the ordinary course of the company consists of such selling or leasing. For example, one real estate company, their activity is buying and selling land. Okay, so where their property, merely you are selling or buying any property where the ordinary business of the company consists of such selling or leasing. So you are buying and selling land or buildings. That is your ordinary business. You don't have to comply with 181A. Or you are a leasing company. You construct a huge multi-story complex, IT park, tech park, and then you lease it out. That is your business, Baba. So there you need not get, every time I enter into a lease, I need not get a shareholder's approval. Okay. We go on to the next power of the board to be exercised only with the consent of the company by a special resolution. Okay. Section 181B. Even if you do not remember all the sections, it would be nice if you could remember these subsections, 181A, 181B and all. It's nice to, when you're talking to lay people and all, 181B and all. So professional, okay, use such things. Because you people like to throw sections at me, that's different. So don't throw it at me, throw it at clients and impress them, or throw it at management and impress them. Okay. Section 181B, to invest otherwise in trust securities. My dear friends, that word than is not there in this section. It is not there. In your institute material also, it may not be there. It will not be there to my knowledge. So I have put than and put a question mark there. Because if you don't put than, there is no need for this approval, Bob. See, to invest in trust securities, the amount of compensation received by it as a result of any merger or amalgamation. First of all, in any merger or amalgamation, what compensation will be received, God only knows. Because in merger or amalgamation, first of all, think who will get money in a merger or amalgamation. Who will get? The amalgamating company will disappear. The amalgamating company will disappear. The amalgamated company will not get anything because that is going to survive. So if at all any compensation is paid, it will be paid to the shareholders of the amalgamating company. See, when the share exchange ratio is fixed, at the end, you will be studying compromises and arrangements and amalgamations. Compromises and amalgamations. There they will teach you that when there is amalgamation, the shareholders of the amalgamating company, the transferor companies, they will be getting shares in the transferee company. There where the share exchange ratio is not perfect, where there's a difference, then to the extent of the fractions, they can be paid money compensation. But that will be received by the shareholders. Maybe if a company is a shareholder and that company is getting a compensation on any merger or amalgamation in respect of shares in the amalgamating company, then the company should be a shareholder in the amalgamating company. Then by virtue of the amalgamation or merger, it is getting compensation with respect to fractions or whatever, some compensation. That compensation, if it wants to invest it in trust securities, it has to get the special resolution. Friends, trust securities is one of the safest investments. Means under the Trust Act, trustees have been given certain categories of investments like government security, scheduled bank deposits and all, which are safe investments. So to invest in such investments, why should you have to go to the company? Yeah? To invest otherwise than in trust security only, you will go to the company, right? But unfortunately, somebody was hungry in the MCA and they swallowed Dan. I'm supplying it here, otherwise meaning, but as of now, to invest in trust securities or to invest otherwise in trust securities, that's what it means. God only knows what that means. I cannot make meaning out of the ministry's extraordinarily brilliance. I am mere teacher, I'm teaching you. So if you want to invest otherwise in trust securities, the amount of compensation received, you have to get a special resolution passed. Mug up, vomit, that's all, matter over. Don't try to understand, because if you try to understand this, you will go mad. Okay, so you are getting some compensation. The company is getting some compensation as a result of merger or amalgamation. That compensation, they want to invest otherwise in trust securities. Then they have to go to the company and get a special resolution. Board cannot do it. Okay, but in the old law, the equivalent section, okay, you will find 290. That was 291B. 293(1)B. Sorry, 293(1)B. It was clear to invest otherwise than in trust security, the compensation received from the sale of any undertaking mentioned in 1A above. Like that it will be. There it made sense. But the compulsory acquisition of any undertaking, okay, it will be mentioned very clearly. But here they are talking about investment otherwise in trust securities. Selling amalgamating company will get consideration in the form of cash or equity shares. Amalgamating company will not get Baba. Boss, after the amalgamation, the amalgamating company will be dissolved. Who will get? You understand? You maybe the topic is not yet ready for you, but you are all highly intelligent, so you can understand. The amalgamating company will go. It will be dissolved without winding up. Who will then, the amalgamated company, the transferee company only will survive. There will be only one fellow moving on. The shareholders of the transferor companies will get shares in the transferee company in as nearly as possible in proportion to their interest in the amalgamating companies. All that you're going to learn in a very short while. But point is, that's what I'm saying. See, boss, I am not here to justify the ministry. Even you are not here to justify the ministry. We have no bounden duty to justify the foolishness of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and their inability to draft laws. Okay. So don't worry. If it is wrong, it is wrong. Say it is wrong and go. What is that? Tomorrow you are going to become a chartered accountant. You have the right to say that the law is wrong. Why not? You are a professional. Every time when the lawmaker makes an ass of himself, we need not support the lawmaker. We can question the lawmaker. We can question it especially where it affects the citizens, where it affects my client. I will fight it in a court of law on a writ and say your law is wrong. Okay, like that. You should have that much guts. So don't justify every time. Don't justify the textbook, because you are in school. You were justifying the textbook. You thought textbook was everything. Whatever is given in the textbook is law of Manu, 10 commandments of Moses, the Shariat. No, it is just a law made by man, not a divine law that I have to obey unquestioningly. I can question the law. Why not? I can say the law is wrong. That is not a crime yet. Huh? Yeah. Okay. Unfortunately, when I walk, along with me, two people will walk. You can't see them. They're invisible, but they will be always on my sides. One guy is called humor. I always see from the humorous side. I cannot be like some of you know very serious. When I say donkey, don't tell donkey and all that. So humor always comes along with me. Like Mullah Nasiruddin, like Birbal, like Tanali Raman. I always take humor along with me wherever I go. Similarly, I take with me on my right hand side logic. When I'm walking, these two gentlemen come along with me, humor and logic. So when somebody says something illogical, logic will tell me, boss, this is illogical. Then humor will tell me, hey, make them understand their illogicality, but do it in a funny way. Don't make them feel bad. So this is how you have to go. That way you will be able to become popular and at the same time seen as a respectable, knowledgeable person. Hey, this guy, Shrikant says something, be careful, man. Like Sri Ram says something, be careful. Like that, for that you should not be too serious, always like that. Just joke, fun. Just take a small pin poke and go. Suddenly that conceited balloon will burst and it will come back to you and say, okay, G, tell me what is the correct position. Now I will explain to you logically what is the correct law. Then thereafter you give them the solution. Shareholders, good show, Sriram. Shareholders of amalgamated company become shareholders. Exactly. Was one of the stupidest drafted sections by the new law. I'm keeping on telling I hate the new law now because of such poor draftsmanship, by such incompetent draftsmanship. I'm so sorry to use these words. I feel so bad because you should read the 293 in the old law. That is all beautiful wordings, English. How they have spoiled it, Anyway. Now, any special resolution passed by the company consenting to that transaction as is referred to in clause A of subsection 1 may stipulate conditions as may be specified, including conditions regarding the use, disposal or investment of the sale proceeds. Go back to 1A. You are selling the whole or substantial whole of the undertaking. You are going to the members for special resolution. There they can say, we are authorizing you to sell the undertaking. Whatever you get from the sale of the undertaking, you should invest only in. They can put conditions. So they can put conditions as to use, disposal or investment of the sale proceeds. Got it? Very, very important. 181A, important. 1B, funny, illogical, stupid. 181C, very, very, very important, but simple. Whenever the company, the board of directors wants to borrow money, you know very well, borrowing money itself can be done only at a board meeting or delegated, etc. But where you're borrowing money, where the money to be borrowed plus the money already borrowed, money to be borrowed plus the money already borrowed exceeds paid up capital and free reserves and securities premium. Paid up capital and free reserves. Now they're adding security premium. Earlier security premium was not there. Now they are giving you securities premium also. So paid up capital plus free reserves and securities premium. Because free reserve means reserve that is available for declaration of dividend. Disposable profit, which is available for declaring dividend. Only that is free reserve. Securities premium cannot be used for declaring dividend, but still they are including it in free along with this. So PC plus FR plus securities premium. You total. The amount to be borrowed now, money is to be borrowed, together with the money already borrowed. If it will exceed PC plus FR plus security premium, then you have to get special resolution from the company. But this borrowing does not include temporary loans obtained from the company's bankers in the ordinary course of business. So the above borrowings does not include temporary loans. Now, immediately you will ask, what is temporary loan? Correct. Exactly. Temporary loan means loans repayable on demand or within 6 months from the date of the loan. So On demand, I told you already. When you're, for example, your CC, cash credit, OD, on demand. Okay, they are all temporary loans on demand. Meaning, of course, on demand means not next day. But if you read the term sheet of the bank, they will very clearly put, in case you deserve, we will call back, you have to pay within 1 month, 2 months of our demand, you have to pay like that. Okay. Usually, they will call back the loan only when you do not comply with the sanction conditions. Otherwise, they will not. So, any temporary loan means a loan repayable on demand or within 6 months from the date of the loan. Within 6 months. So, if it is repayable within 6 months, it's a temporary. But be careful. A loan may be repayable within 6 months. But if it is going to fund a capital asset, capital expenditure, then it is not a temporary loan. So, borrowing does not include temporary loan exception. Now, exception of exception. Temporary loan does not include loans raised for the purpose of financial expenditure of a capital nature. So, suppose you are temporarily borrowing money for constructing another floor or buying another machinery. Even though it is repayable within 6 months, it is not a temporary loan. Are you able to understand? They're giving some examples of temporary loans like short-term cash credit arrangement, discounting of bills, other short-term loans of a seasonal character. For example, sometimes sugar industry and all, they'll take seasonal loans. Company will borrow because they will need money only during the peak season when the cutting happens. Then once the sugar is produced, now that's it. They won't need so much. They'll only need to keep stock. Thereafter, the money will start coming in. So by the another 6 months, the loan will get completely closed. Then again, they'll take for the next season like that. Whatever. So it is a short-term loans of a seasonal character. I mean, this is a beautiful area where they keep on asking questions. So kindly, you don't have to study this. Yeah, you have already listened to me. Just aram se, just listen. You have understood. Keep it in the mind. Then revise it a little bit. That's all. But question is going to come from here. Whereas some vague topic, SEBI guideline 18 of 22, all that you go and mug up. This won't come in the exam also. You waste your time remembering. Sorry. This is one approach that I keep telling students, they don't like it. Sir, Mr. Srikanth, don't waste my time. My logic is very simple. You told logic. No, that logic, my logic, the guy who's standing next to me, your logic is telling, if I study the complete institute material, fully, from first end, one cover to cover, if I study all the practice manual questions, then I cannot fail. Am I correct? You are right. The logic of this I cannot question. But where is the time? 1, 2 other subjects are there. That is why I generally suggest to students, use a scanner or even use the practice manual first to understand which topics are being regularly questioned, regularly tested. Do that first. Similarly, there are topics which you are not comfortable with, which are tough. For example, in costing, standard costing is very tough. Do that first. Conquer it. Then go for easier topics. Like that. This is my, you might ask me, why are you telling me all these things? Your job is to teach. No, I'm telling this to you as not as a faculty, but as a student who was able to beat the examination code and win every time. That student is talking to you now. And he's telling his approach to you. Okay, not the teacher, but the student is talking to you. The student, Srikanth, is talking to you, who aram se went and wrote the exam. Everybody asks, Srikanth, how you are able to do this? You are not even studying like us. You are casual, but you are able to get rank. How? Because I use a technique. I use a process. Not because I mug up from front to back. And I understood that top topics are more important than easy topics. Study the tough topics. Conquer them. Overcome the fear. Then you are winning. Absolutely, it includes working capital loan, Baba. It includes working capital. Again, Sriram, go back to your earlier comment. Sir, working capital loan, is it not permanent loan like that? No. It is question, is it on demand or is it repayable after a term, more than 6 months? I think that is the correct question you have to answer me. Is it on demand or is it repayable beyond 6 months? For example, in gold industry, we have metal loan. Now, metal loan is repayable after 6 months. It is working capital. So, I cannot say directly all working capital loans are temporary loans like that. No, I'm not going to make that stupid mistake. No, sir, no. Or rather, I'm going to ask you to answer me a few questions every time. You come to me with that loan, I'll ask you questions. First, is it repayable on demand? No, sir. Is it repayable within 6 months? No, sir. Then it is not a temporary loan, sir. That's all. Even though it is working capital. Are you able to understand what I'm saying? So the conditions are more important. If the loan satisfies these two conditions, it is a temporary loan. If not, it may be. So don't classify as all working capital loans are short term. No. In this case, be careful. But generally, okay, to go back, cash credits are temporary because they are repayable on demand. OD is temporary. It is repayable on demand. They are also funding working capital, but they are on demand, straight away temporary. Okay. So are you able to understand the terminology issues here, Sriramji? You are using the word working capital loan. I don't want to fall prey to that wording. I want to be careful. I'm going to ask you more questions about that working capital loan. If you answer me in some way, I will say it is not. If you answer me in one way, I will say it is. Are you able to understand? You might think I'm wasting your time or irritating you, Sriram, but the fact is, I'm helping you to think like a member of my institute, not as a student. All of you should start thinking like members of the institute. Stop thinking like students. Start thinking like as if you are already a qualified member. Then the way you approach itself will be different. That approach is what is going to help you pass the examination. That is what is being tested in the exam, right? This is the secret I'm letting you in on. Chalo. Now that we'll move on. So acceptance of deposits from the public by a banking company in the ordinary course of business, repayable on demand or otherwise, whatever, shall not be deemed to be borrowing monies. Okay, the same exception we saw there, we see here also. Beautiful. Now, they talk about something called ultra-vires borrowing. You already know what is ultra-vires. Ultra means beyond. Vires means power. So, borrowing beyond the power. Where a company borrows in excess of its borrowing limit specified above, then such borrowings in excess of the limit shall not be valid or effectual unless the lender proves that he advanced the loan in good faith without knowledge that the limit imposed by the law has been exceeded. Now, friends, the doctrine of constructive notice is still applicable. Please, this is not an exception to the doctrine of constructive notice. No. If you say you're in good faith, we will ask you, why you didn't read the articles, Baba? Articles are very clear and Companies Act is very clear. You know who will be protected? Doctrine of internal management fellow only will be protected. That is, you ask the company, boss, have you passed the resolution under 181C? The company said, yes. You asked him for a resolution. He gave you some tobacco resolution. You took it and put it in a file, lent the money in good faith. But, or you asked him a question. Is the limit exceeded? He says no. Then you lend him, but that is too much. Yeah. You are a banker. You should take a certificate from a chartered accountant. I mean, if the lender should be careful. Okay. But if the lender is able to show that he advanced the loan in good faith and without knowledge that the limit had been exceeded, sorry, it's like Pricewaterhouse and Satyam. If they say that they did not know that Ramalinga Raju was committing fraud, Buddhus, you are not fit to be a multinational firm. Okay, but if you say you are aware, then you are fraud. So between the two, you are hovering. Are you a fool or a fraud? That's all. Okay, so it is like that. So therefore, without knowledge that the limit imposed by law. So which is why, tomorrow, if you are going to be a credit officer in a large bank or financial institution or NBFC, be careful. If it is a corporate borrower, first thing you ask, give me your articles of association memorandum. Go through it. As per clause 23, you have to get a resolution. Have you done it? Show me. Get it certified. That is easier. Or, okay, if the chairman signs and says true copy, you are said because you are protected by doctrine of indoor management. Then you ask 181C, give me your balance sheet. Give me a certificate from your chartered accountant that this is your net worth. That's all I need. And this is your borrowings. Let him certify. He need not certify 181C. I want him to certify as of, say, 1 month or 2 months ago, what is your paid up capital, what is your net worth, or these three items total, what is the already existing borrowing, I know what is my borrowing, I will add it, see whether I will calculate 181. If I find 181C is violated, please pass a special resolution, proof, file MGT 14, show it to me, come. That's all. Or I'll hire a company secretary to do it for me. That way, the lender has to protect himself. But if the lender is, if after doing all this, the company has committed some fraud and given you some bogus documents, then, boss, you take action against everybody. Yeah. The company secretary, the chartered accountant, the CFO, every director on the board, you take them to task here because they have colluded and defrauded you as a bank. You are entitled to do this. So finally, 181D, with this I think we'll have to close. To remit or give time for the repayment of any debt due from a director. Normally, when an employee has borrowed money from the company, he goes to the MD and says, sir, I took one salary advance, sir, 3 lakhs for my daughter's marriage. I agreed to repay. Every month I agreed to repay 20,000, sir, but now you know how it is to do, sir. Kindly allow me to not to do the repayment, sir. Give time, sir. Another 6 months, I will start repaying again, sir. Now you are the MD, you are getting the application. Then you can say, okay, I feel bad for this guy. Allow 6 months, maaf. After that, you start paying again. Allowed, you can do it. But suppose you are the MD, you have borrowed, or another director has borrowed, and you want to give time to yourself. Sorry, that cannot be done by you. You, the directors or MD or the board itself, cannot give time to a member of the board now. A conflict of interest now, because you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So they say, if you want to remit means, suppose the director is owing 10 lakhs. You allow him to pay 8 lakhs and close the loan. That is called remission. Or you can say one-time settlement or waive the interest. Whatever you want to do, board cannot take the decision, Baba. Come to the members, pass a special resolution or give time for the repayment. Maaf kare. Whatever you want to do, come to the members. Let the members take the call. If the members agree, please, special resolution, enjoy, go. But board cannot take its own decision. See, one gentleman was there. He said, you know, Mr. A is a very, very great man. Oh, really? Who told you? Mr. A only told me. Hey, A is a great man. Who told you? A only told me. So A cannot tell that he is a great man. Other people should tell A is a great man. Like that, board itself cannot cancel the loan. If they want that loan due by them to be cancelled or by a director to be cancelled, they have to get it approved by the shareholders. So every special resolution passed by a company in general meeting in relation to the exercise of the powers referred to above shall specify the total amount up to which monies may be borrowed. You cannot say that resolution cannot say board of directors may borrow monies in excess of the paid up capital, free reserves and securities premium account from time to time as they may decide, or as they may decide from time to time, even though the amount may exceed paid up capital, etc. You can't give blanket resolution. You have to specify the amount up to which monies may be borrowed. 181C. Any special resolution consenting to the 181A, means sale or otherwise disposing of assets, may stipulate such conditions. We already saw that. Okay. Now, we have come to the end of today's class. But still, let us go another 5 minutes and work out this problem. Please either take a photo of this or you take down. So, Board of Directors of Stepping Stone Publications at a meeting held on 15/1/2021 resolved to borrow a sum of 15 crores from a nationalized bank. Subsequently, the said amount was received by the company. One of the directors, that is, the loan was taken. One of the directors who opposed the said borrowing as not in the interest of the company has raised an issue that the said borrowing is outside the powers of the board. They seek your advice. So they are resolving to borrow. The board is resolving. 181C, you have to go to the, should you go? For that, what should you see? They have borrowed, now they are borrowing 15. Their share capital is 5. Reserves and surplus 5, total 10. Already they have borrowed 15 plus 5. Assume that all of them are not short term. All of them, assume that all are not temporary. Then 15 plus 5, 20. Already another 15 is there. So They have already exceeded, boss. How can they? So they cannot give it. The loan cannot be given. Okay, this is the answer. Right? So later on, we will see some more problems on this, practical problems on this. Okay. This is straightforward. You want to borrow a sum of 15 crore? Assuming that this 15 crore is what you have borrowed, already unsecured loan 5 is the total 20. Your share capital in responsible is only 10. You have already exceeded. So you cannot go for correct. You have to get a special resolution. In fact, since you have not got a special resolution, you have violated section 180. Okay, now 181. We have completed 180, 181. Contribution to bona fide charitable funds. I don't know what is a bona fide. Bona fide means good or genuine. Actually, bona fide is a Latin term which means genuine. So, board of directors of a company may contribute to genuine charitable and other funds. Why would it contribute to a fund which is not genuine? Yeah. Why wouldn't see because they know in Latin bona fide they put. You mean to say a company will wantedly contribute to a charitable fund which is not bona fide? Or if you desire to contribute, will you accept that it is not bona fide? If you want to contribute to a charitable fund, what you should see, whether they are registered under the Income Tax Act, 12A, 80G, that means it's bona fide. Na? So you should give. And if it is not registered under 80G, why will I give? If it is registered under 80G, anyway, bona fide only. So whatever it is. Anyway. So, board of directors of a company may contribute to bona fide charitable and other funds. But where the contribution in any financial year exceeds 5% of the average net profits for the 3 immediately preceding financial years. So, you have to take 3 immediately preceding financial years and calculate 5%. 3 immediately preceding financial years, calculate 5%. If your contribution in any financial year will exceed this 5% of average net profits for 3 immediately, then prior permission of the company in general meeting shall be required for such contribution. Prior permission, only ordinary resolution you have to get before you contribute. Okay. So we have come to one good level. In the next class, we are going to see political contributions. It will be wonderful fun. And extraordinarily great fun will be there. You'll see how hypocritical the Ministry of Corporate Affairs can be. We will see in the next class. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to close because what I find is that the minute I close the session, people asking questions. So please ask any more questions, then I will close. I will give you another 2 to 3 minutes, but please put the question up fast if you have any. Thank you, Ms. Kaushiki. Because sometimes after I close, the question is there. Okay, I shall presume that you have no further